Hi, I'm Andrew Rich, and if you're like me, you look at the state of modern wrestling discourse and think, wow, what a cesspool. That's why I'm here to tell you about Music of the Mat Remix. That's right, your favorite wrestling music podcast is back with a new format, where I bring on a guest and we play songs related to wrestling-themed topics. It could be a wrestling reference, a wrestling concept, a wrestling pun, things of that nature. Now you might be saying, Andrew, that is a very, very tenuous connection to pro wrestling on a wrestling podcast network. Is this just an excuse to hang out with your friends and talk about music and ignore the rest of the wrestling landscape? Yes. Yes, it is. So listen to Music of the Mat Remix on the Voices of Wrestling Podcast Network, available on Apple, Spotify, or your podcast player of choice.
Wrestling Omakase is back, baby! The weekly podcast that takes you across all the top promotions on the entire Japanese wrestling scene, from New Japan to Stardom, Noah, DDT, All Japan, Mari Gold, Dragon Gate, Tokyo Joshi, Sendai Girls, and a whole lot more. I'm John Carroll, a fan of Japanese wrestling for over 20 years, and every week I'm joined by a rotating cast of guest co-hosts as we break down all the top promotions in Japan, men's and women's. Check out Wrestling Omakase right here on the Voices of Wrestling podcasting network today.
It's Kelly Clarkson here to talk all things Wayfair, the best place to buy furniture, decor, and anything else you can think of to create a home you absolutely love. I know when I shop with Wayfair, I find options for every style, whether I'm feeling boho or farmhouse, modern, traditional, French country. I can find exactly what I need for my home and more. No matter your space, style, or budget, shop Wayfair.com to make your home way more you.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
A Mochi moment from Mark, who writes, I just want to thank you for making GLP-1s affordable. What would have been over $1,000 a month is just $99 a month with Mochi. Money shouldn't be a barrier to healthy weight. 3 months in, and I have smaller jeans and a bigger wallet. You're the best. Thanks, Mark. I'm Myra Ahmed, founder of Mochi Health. To find your Mochi moment, visit joinmochi.com.
Mark is a Mochi member compensated for his story.
This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
What do you guys want to talk about?
You are listening to the Flagship Podcast with your hosts, Joe Lanza.
What has being annoying stopped you ever?
That's an excellent point. Right. An excellent point. That's part of the charm.
And Rich Crage.
Corey Graves screaming, perfectly legal, Cole. You can do anything you want in Tribal Combat. It's perfectly legal. While Paul Heyman is just yelling, Tribal Combat, Tribal Combat, Tribal Combat, Tribal Combat, Tribal Combat. I'm like, God damn it. Fuck all of you. Fuck this.
And we are live on the Flagship Podcast. I am Rich. He is Joe. Joe, what's happening? How are you?
I heard a really nasty rumor.
Oh, no.
Yeah. I heard, and you're the person to ask. You can confirm whether this is true or not.
Okay.
But I heard a really nasty rumor that not only will we not be previewing NXT No Mercy tonight, but that you have, in fact, made an executive decision on your own without consulting.
Correct.
Yes. I mean, now I thought I was half of this show, but that's fine. I mean, sometimes the captain just needs to steer the ship. I get it. But I heard you made an executive decision without consulting me. That not only will we not be previewing NXT No Mercy, which does air this weekend from the Fort Lauderdale War Memorial in Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
On which service, Joe, will I be able to watch NXT No Mercy PLE? Since
that is on Peacock.
Yeah. Okay. You nailed it.
Peacock. Yeah. Not only will we not be previewing that show, which is a major pay-per-view event, by the way, but you have made the executive decision that you are now, and I quote from this rumor that I heard, quote, hand-waving NXT moving forward, completely ignoring its existence and refusing to cover it. So I'm coming right to you, the source. Is this true?
Joe, we've had our ups and downs, and obviously I've had a rough go of it the last month or so, and I maybe haven't been totally truthful with you, but I hate to tell you that the rumors are true. Yes, I do not want to watch NXT anymore.
Well, I mean, I don't want to watch NXT anymore either.
I don't think we have to.
I
think we don't have to anymore. Is my here's the thing. Here's what happened. So I'm watching the CMLL 92nd anniversary show, and they have this segment where they bring all the Luthroths out, and there's 5 generations. There's the little kids out there, and I'm like, all right, that kid, in 60 years is going to be one of these old guys walking out here, bowing in front of the CMLL talent if WWE hasn't destroyed him yet. And I'm thinking, man, that's a family business. How cool is that? 5 generations. The announcers are like, whoa, that kid's there too. We didn't know he was going to be there. It's like they thought they were only going to see 4 generations. Nah, here's some little fucking pipsqueak, 8-year-old walking out here. He's another Luthroth. It's like, oh shit, he could succeed. He's got X amount of layers that he's got to get through. It's like the English crown or whatever. Yeah, a lot of things have to go wrong for that young man to inherit CMLL, but he could maybe one day inherit CMLL. You know what I mean? It could possibly happen. Maybe not soon, because his great grandfather is still hanging on there. He's 100 years old. He's still there, looking pretty good at 100. And I'm thinking, man, what a cool thing this is. 92 years in the business, a family business. This is really cool. And I got done watching that show, and I was like, that was a really fun show. I enjoyed that CMLL 92nd anniversary show. And then I listened to some wrestling audio. The minute I finished the CMLL 92nd anniversary, I think it was Observer Radio. And they're kind of going over some topics or whatever. And Dave's like, yeah, it's a pretty big wrestling weekend. And Brian's like, I know, there's a NXT PLE on Saturday, NXT No Mercy, and we should not forget about TNA Victory Road on Friday. And I was just like, no, I'm not doing it anymore. Why? There's always an NXT PLE, Joe. I don't want any more NXT PLEs. I can't watch this disgrace of wrestling that is NXT. I can't watch TNA invading NXT. Fuck you. I don't care. I've already, you know me, I handwave TNA. I let you do the TNA stuff on the Flagship Plus. Modern TNA just absolutely revolts me, from the yellow ropes to the terrible cameras and the no white balance, and just all of it. I hate it all. And now it's like NXT is going to feature the stars of TNA, which are just the ex-stars of NXT. I'm done. I'm not watching NXT No Mercy. I'm not doing it. So if you want to watch NXT No Mercy, knock yourself out. I there's too much good wrestling that I don't watch to watch NXT. To watch Ethan Page, I'm done. I can't do any more Ethan Page. I can't do any more Javon Evans on an endless treadmill. I can't do Obafemi never getting called up, and they're waiting for something. I can't pretend that Trick Williams is any good. I want to bury Blake Monroe, and it's too easy. It's just too easy. People keep asking, do the Blake Monroe thing. We don't need to. You're watching it every week. It's happening every single week. We don't have to bury Blake Monroe. It's just out there. It's in the open. We don't have to do it. I can't. Matt Cardona is talking about how he invaded NXT with TNA, and I'm like, no. I can't do it, Joe. There's so much else I'd rather watch. Our friend Big Biss, day one listener, number one listener, not even a day one listener, the first listener. Would you declare Big Biss the first listener we've ever had on this entire show?
One of the 6, yes.
One of the 6, yeah. To me, number one, because he was going to ride or die with us no matter what. First guest we've ever done. Multiple time guest, has been on there many times. I'm talking to him the other day, and he's running a show, Joe. He's running a show, I believe it's next week. He's getting a little pluggeroo here. Good for him. He's running a show next week called We Know Ball.
We Know Ball.
New Texas Pro Wrestling. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to get Biss on. I'm going to bring him onto the show. We can talk about We Know Ball. We can promote it. It's been a while since we brought him on. Maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll do it sometime next week before the show. We'll bring Big Biss on and talk to him.
Plus.
We'll do a Flagship Plus, and I'll bring Big Biss on. Anyway, and I'm thinking I should catch up on, New Texas. And a couple weeks ago, I wanted to catch up on like the last couple of weeks because he's always pumping stuff up and he's really excited about it. He used to be in Aspire. Now he's at New Texas. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to catch up. And it was a couple of weeks ago, I think. And this was the last time that NXT, it was not the straw that broke the camel's back, but like I really hate that I'm doing this. I wanted to watch New Texas, and I was like, no, I have to watch. What was the last NXT PLE that we had to watch? I don't even remember what the fuck it was. I don't even care. It was stupid, and it was bad, and it was that was the one with all the lights down at the frickin' Lowell Memorial Auditorium, right? That was a week ago, right? Like, how was that a month ago? There's no way that was a month ago, right? That had to be a week ago that they last had one of these big-time shows on Peacock. Anyway, I remember that week I was like, I want to watch New Texas. Then I said, fuck, I can't. I got to watch NXT. And I'm thinking, here's a day one guy, a ride or die dude, Big Biss, who's running a show, basically wink, wink, nudge, nudging us by calling it We Know Ball. It looks like a hell of a show. IndependentWrestling.tv, New Texas Pro Wrestling. You can find all the details there. Maybe we'll do a plus with Biss next week. And I'm thinking, I want to watch that. But no, I have to watch Ethan Page again. I have to watch Chelsea Green. I have to watch Oba Femi. No, Trick Williams, I'm done. I'm over it. No more NXT for me.
NXT Heatwave 2025 was on August 24th, exactly a month ago.
No way.
Lowell, Massachusetts.
Cannot have been a month ago.
But your point stands. I think you bringing on Biss and doing a plus. I had him on and did a plus a couple months ago. He's a great guest. People enjoy him. He can come on and plug his show. You can get all caught up on New Texas. That's great. I just am dismayed that you're just hand waving such a big time show like NXT No Mercy 2025. All right. Let me ask you this, and you've hand waved Victory. You hand waved TNA a long time ago, so there'll be no Victory Road preview on this show either.
No.
So that's just not going to happen.
Victory Road, no. Victory Road will not happen.
Well,
let me look at the card on Victory Road here real quick. You can see. Dear God!
I got him to preview it, guys.
Oh dear God! I got him to preview it. Oh my God! Look at this card. No, Jesus Christ! Have you seen this card?
Listen. I got to be honest with you, Rich Craig. I didn't know Victory Road was this weekend until 5 minutes ago. But
can I read this card to you? I know in a way you've kind of made your point because now we're going to talk about both of these shows, but I have to read you this Victory Road card, okay?
I hate when this comes up because I genuinely love and respect Garrett Kidney. He's such a great guy, and he's been so good to us. He has a tremendous TNA history podcast on this network. You've got to be kidding me. And I always feel so bad when we just completely disregard and ignore TNA. And, the thing about Garrett is he never takes offense to that sort of thing.
Never.
He understands. He understands. Now, when it warrants it, he will defend TNA. When people are being unfair in their TNA criticism, he'll step in. But it still makes me feel bad that I didn't know Victory Road, a major pay-per-view event. Or is it on their app?
It's on the Plus. Yeah, it's on TNA.
Okay. A semi-major event on their streaming service was this weekend. I feel bad that I didn't know. So lay the card on me.
All right. Eric Young versus Joe Hendry. TNA.
Eric
Young versus Joe Hendry. Yep.
Eric Young is a TNA icon. I'm not doing any shtick. A genuine TNA icon. And he's taken on maybe the most high-profile TNA wrestler of this current era. I'm going to sell you on every one of these matches is what I'm going to do.
I will. The arrow on Hendry is not. I understand what you were saying there. Can we agree that the arrow on Joe Hendry is not pointed, not very up anymore?
The arrow's pointing down.
Very down. This guy. Remember Joe Hendry? We're not that long removed from like Joe Hendry being a thing that people were trying to pretend was a thing. That we all knew wasn't really a thing.
We never accepted that. We knew the reality of it.
We always knew it wasn't a thing.
We knew the reality of it. I think that Joe Hendry's arrow is pointing so far down that we're now in danger of WWE maybe taking a pass when he becomes a free agent.
Right, exactly.
They might just say, you know what, we're good.
We got Mr. Iguana now. We're good. Honestly, legit, a real discussion that could be had is, shouldn't we just get Mr. Iguana instead of Joe Hendry? And yes, the answer is probably yes. Just get Mr. Iguana.
But listen, that's a TNA icon versus the modern day TNA icon.
Uh-huh. There you go. TNA International Championship, the acclaimed TNA International Championship. Steve Macklin defending the title against Frankie Kazarian.
Now, listen, Steve Macklin has been one of the steadiest, if not the steadiest, in-ring performers in TNA over the last couple of years. Would you dispute that?
I would not.
Watching recently,
no, I would not. No, I would not.
Right? And Frankie Kazarian, solid veteran hand, and they're battling over this championship. Listen, I think you're going to get no frills quality pro wrestling with a floor of 3.25 stars with Steve Macklin versus Frankie Kazarian. So I think that's a quality on paper matchup.
The Elegance brand. This is for the TNA Knockouts title. The Elegance brand. Heather by Elegance and M by Elegance versus the inspiration of Cassie Lee and Jessica McKay.
Boy, this is this game. Did I
have at it, Joe? Sell me on the Elegance brand, and it's M and Heather versus Kathy Lee and Jessie McKay. Please.
All right, I can't destroy my own credibility here. My first two previews were completely in earnest. I wasn't doing any shtick when I previewed those first two matches. Those were genuine previews. So I'm not going to destroy my credibility, Rich. Not for the sake of this bit. I'm going to admit to you that on paper, that sounds like one of the worst fucking matches that you may ever lay your eyes on. That sounds horrendous.
What was the Mania weekend? Wasn't there maybe it wasn't Mania weekend. There was I swear to God, this match happened before, and you called it one of the worst matches that's ever happened. Do you remember that? Let me dig into the inspiration to see. It was against an Elegance team, but I forget if there was another team involved.
But I will say this: although that's not going to deliver in the ring, there's a 0% chance of that happening. I do think that something that I have always believed in is that pro wrestling's a buffet. There's a little bit of everything for everyone on a good pro wrestling card. And I think that something that might not be for you might be for somebody else. There might be, I'm going to give you this is a bulletproof defense of this match that you wouldn't dare dispute, Rich Craich. There might be a little girl somewhere tuning in to Victory Road, and she's excited to see the Iconics versus Ash by the Elegance people. And she might be inspired by that.
Right, like Willow inspired by the Glamazon Beth Phoenix, right? We saw it this week on Dynamite. She talked about the inspiration that the Glamazon was to her.
Like the Australian girl that works in TNA now was inspired by Sasha Banks, whatever the hell her name is.
Indy Hartwell.
Indy Hartwell. And thank God we have Indy Hartwell in wrestling today. Could you imagine pro wrestling without Indy Hartwell?
I literally couldn't. Yeah, I literally could not.
There could be a little girl somewhere who's excited to see this match because she sees herself on that screen, Rich. And she's excited to see these two fine female tag teams go at it. Is it Saturday? This Saturday at Victory Road.
It's Friday.
This Friday at Victory Road.
We were just testing you guys, the listeners, and you guys failed. The chat room, you failed. Nobody corrected us. But Friday.
So I don't know. I don't like your smugness because pro wrestling.
You had a good angle. I'm disappointed. You had a very good angle here, and you did not take it. One of these competitors, I'm very high on, and I think the world of her future talents. And
Maggie Lee or whatever.
You should have nailed it there. Yeah, it's not Heather Reckless. I'll tell you that. It's not Cassie Lee. So yeah, you should have. But that's all right. You took a different approach. I would have said, Rich, you always put over Maggie Lee, and now here she is with an opportunity to prove it on the biggest stage of them all. Victory Road on TNA Plus, live from the Edmonton Expo Center in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. But
carrying 3 sacks of flour to a passable match. But I would say that, listen, something else I've always firmly believed in and touted on this show is that pro wrestling's for everyone. So I'm sorry.
A variety show. You always tout how you love that pro wrestling is a variety show. Flavors of ice cream, variety show, however you want to describe it. That's one of the great things about wrestling. Yeah.
And I am known for not being extremely rigid in what I like and not expanding my horizons to enjoy things that might just be fun.
Of course.
So that's my angle on defending that tag team.
All right. Moose versus Mustafa Ali.
Oh, now listen. You got
it's a main event in any building. Just not this one. Just not the Edmonton Expo Center, but anywhere else, yeah.
Right. It wasn't that long ago that Mustafa Ali was one of the top indie wrestlers in the world. I mean, it was
kind of a long time ago now.
It was
kind of a long time ago at this point. It's like 2017.
Is 2016 a long time ago? I don't know.
I think 9 years is kind of long, yeah.
Yeah, and Moose, I mean, that's a guy who's done a lot of things, and he's had a lot of good matches.
Moose, I'm doing it right now. You're doing it too. That's
played for the Rams. So
it's your guy. Yeah, right. Yeah, Rams. All right, this one's not gonna be hard. This one I actually am genuinely interested in watching, even though I won't. TNA X Division Championship: Leon Slater versus Myron Reed. You don't even have to sell me on that one. That's fine.
You like that?
I like that. Yeah. Yeah. Leon versus
Slater.
Hot Fire. Myron
Hot
Reed,
Fire.
the young goat. Sometimes he has a couple different names.
They're always protector, or was he still wearing chest protector?
I think he is. I want to say he's lost the chest protector, which is good. I think he also lost the flame pants. I think because that wasn't very good. Man needs an image consultant, but he's married now, so hopefully maybe Killer Kelly's helping tighten his wardrobe up a little bit.
Would he marry?
Killer Kelly.
Really? They're an item?
They're an item.
I didn't know that.
I don't know if they're married, but I believe I think they're married. I think they're engaged. I believe they're engaged. They have a child together, but I believe they're engaged.
They do. Yes. Wow. When would they have ever crossed paths to meet? Like, was he working WXW in Uberhausen or whatever fucking town that is? Like, I don't think so.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Like,
maybe MLW. Maybe MLW is where they.
When was Killer Kelly in MLW?
I don't know. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. When did they ever cross paths? Like, how did these lovebirds meet and fall in love? I'd like to know, because I don't remember them ever working in the same place.
So there's 2 times they worked together. Now, I don't know if they worked, but there's 2 matches that they've had together. And I find this very funny. And I would like to believe that they met in 2021, December 11th of 2021, at WTF's Blizzard Brawl 2021 from Fortville, Indiana, the Mercy Road Church. They were both participants in a 40-man Blizzard Brawl. And Dylan Bostic was in that match, too. And that's a real man that really wrestles.
Oh, God.
So
if Dylan Bostic was in the match, everyone got booked for that one.
A lot of people are in this one. Marion Fontaine got a book. Yeah, it's a long list of people here. But they mixed it up there, so maybe they had a brief, appearance together in the 40-man Blizzard Brawl at WTF's Blizzard Brawl 2021 from Mercy Road Church in Fortville, Indiana, and then maybe sparks flew immediately. Maybe she went for a crossbody and he grabbed her and was like, "Oh, wait a minute.
This is fate.
I'm feeling something here. I'm feeling something I've never felt before." So
deep in my loins.
Yeah. Deep in my loins.
I gotta say that he must have incredible game. He works fast. He worked one show. He kicked his game and he wifed it up, right? Maybe she has the incredible game. Maybe she husband it up.
Yeah,
and after one show.
You're with me, leather.
But,
you're with me, leather.
That's it.
You're with me, flame leather pants. Come on.
Yeah, you're with me, chest protector. Let's get out of here. And that was that. They wrapped it up, and now they're a happy item. Maybe married, maybe not married. Doesn't matter.
I forgot they're getting married. I love it. Wrestling Revolver is doing a wedding ceremony. They're getting, I think, shoot married at Wrestling Revolver next month or whatever, which I love. I love wrestling so much.
Suit Williams in the chat. Myron Reed looks like a guy who does a backflip when Maury tells him he's not the father. So him being the father is surprising to me.
Oh, that was Suit Williams, everybody, that said that. Not Joe Lanza or Rich Craich. Suit Williams. Suit Williams said that.
It's an incredible comment.
It's a very good comment. Just want to point out, Suit Williams was the one that said that.
Looks like a guy who does a backflip on Maury.
For the record, the 2 middle-aged white men that host the show were merely reading from the chat that Suit Williams posted. Just want to again reiterate that.
A black man who made that comment.
Right.
Rich is so nervous. Rich has never been more nervous.
Just want to point out. He's not wrong. I'm nodding in agreement. But
come on, you can't see Myron Reed with that chest protector doing a backflip on Maury.
No, I think he would wear like a really bad, like obviously just bought, like you always talk about Christopher Daniels buying the Kohl's 8-pack,
the Kohl's shirt and tie combo that comes in the plastic box. Yeah.
Like when Myron Reed goes on the show, he at least wears that, but you can see there's still like the creases in there from the fold,
straight from the plastic box.
right.
He is not going to iron it
No.
to go on Maury for 10 minutes. No, he's not going to do that. And honestly, I can't blame him. I don't know if I'd iron it either, but what a burn. That is some burn.
That's the difference of the No Dopes chat room. We always tell you guys, this chat room on Thursday nights and instant reaction nights. I mean, when you're on the $10 tier, you can be a part of this chat room, and it is. And a lot of people tell us, like, when they go to watch these YouTube videos, the chat room doesn't come up because it's like a long processing thing that it's kind of, you have to be here. You kind of have to be here live. Now you can come in back and a couple days later, but it's not the same. And being in here, I mean, there's some very funny comments that are always. I mean, it's always a good conversation going on. But that one's pretty good. But all right, and then our main event, I guess, Mike Santana versus Ridge Holland. Mike Santana versus Ridge Holland.
Ah, well, I mean, come on. I mean, that one sells itself. I mean, do I really have to?
I would like for you to sell it for me. No, please. I while I do agree that it sells itself, I would like to hear, presumably, what your pitch would be.
Really
not that you need to do a pitch, of course.
Really putting the screws to me here, aren't you, Rich Crates? You're really putting the screws to me. Well, I mean, it's Mike Santana, who many people think is going to be the breakout star of 2026 in pro wrestling, and
do they?
You've got
ooh.
You've got Ridge Holland, who
right.
at any moment he can like hurt someone for real. You just come on. That's the proverbial main event in any building, including this weekend,
including in Edmonton Expo Center. Yeah,
Edmonton Expo Center. Look, it's Victory Road. Yeah. I mean, I can't. You're not going to be locked in, but the thing here is, okay. Are you aware that Jordan Grace and Blake Monroe are in a weaponized steel cage match?
I am.
On No Mercy?
I am.
And you're still hand-waving.
I'm even more reason to hand-wave it, yes.
You're not excited about the fake black WWE chairs and the fake black WWE ladders and the fake WWE kendo sticks?
I love nothing more than when my WWE superstars hit each other with kendo sticks, but I believe it or not, I'm going to have to hand-wave this one, yeah.
Do you think they'll use kendo sticks in the weaponized cage match?
Oh, man. It's hard to say, but I'm going to go on a limb and say, Joe, I believe in my heart of hearts they are going to use a kendo stick. I believe there will be a kendo stick attached to the steel cage, and Blake Monroe will rip it off and say, "This is your fault," and then hit her with the kendo stick. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What odds would you put on the which, by the way, I was informed by someone in the business that they're not called kendo sticks; they're bamboo training swords. So what are the odds we're going to get some bamboo training swords? Yeah, like if you want to buy them, because I asked someone who has to get these things. I'm like, where do you acquire these kendo sticks? And the answer was, you mean bamboo training swords? So there you go.
Okay.
What are the odds that bamboo training swords will be used in this weaponized
pretty high
match?
Yeah, pretty high.
Minus 500, minus 1,000.
Keep going.
10-1 on that.
I mean, I'd bet my fucking house on that for sure.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it's pretty high. I miss the days when we called them Singapore Canes. Can you call them Singapore Canes now, or is that like?
I don't know.
Is that problematic to call it that?
It's always dicey when you put like the name of a location on something, because so I don't know. It could be problematic.
Yeah, I began
Singapore cane.
Last year. I was doing some research on when the canes first became a thing in professional wrestling. Obviously, based off the Singapore, the big time news story at the time, and I was trying to figure out ECW was definitely the first to do it, I believe, from everything I was able to research. I wasn't able to put it together into a full piece, but it's kind of fascinating how, it started from there and then, worked its way to now just being a thing that Blake Monroe yanks off a cage and then hits somebody with 1,000 times and nobody cares, from being how great that angle was with Tommy Dreamer and the Singapore Cane to, what we've done today, where every match that involves no DQ or a weapon, it's just Tegan Knox grabs it and just hits somebody with it for a couple of seconds and then throws it off to the side. It's like, all right, that's it. That's fine.
Well, listen, I can promise you will not be seeing a bamboo training sword when Sol Ruka defends that women's WWE speed title against Lainey Reed.
Who the fuck
You're not into that one either?
Who's Lainey Reed? I should know who Lainey Reed is. Do I know Lainey Reed?
Oh, Lainey Reed, of course. Lainey Reed. What do you mean?
I'm looking at Lainey. I don't think I've ever seen Lainey Reed.
Well,
I assume she's an NXT
Saturday
superstar.
when you tune in.
Yeah, on Peacock. Yeah, I'm on the.
Yeah. I mean, she picked up a big win over Fabi Apache in the tournament. Then she knocked off Candice LeRae. I mean, there's like 50 years of experience between those two.
That's true. Yeah.
I
do remember on the last NXT PLE we watched, Ava said that there's some big changes coming to NXT. I have acquired the Speed Championship, and now Speed Championship matches will be occurring on NXT, with the first being a first-round matchup for the WWE Women's Speed #1 contendership tournament, which begins next week on NXT. I do remember that. So now I do recall that the Speed, it's a big deal. It's a big deal, these Speed matches being in NXT. Now that they're no longer on X, the Everything app. They have, I don't know what happened.
They're not.
X, no, they're done.
That deal's over?
It's over, yeah.
Then why don't they just get rid of this stupid fucking thing? Nobody
because Ava acquired it. No, at Heatwave, she talked about what a monumental moment it was to acquire it. And then the talent that were backstage were like, all right. And Sol Ruka was like, okay, yeah. Because it was like, Sol was with Zarya, and they were doing like the, making funny faces thing. And Sol's, I'm hot and I'm a surfer and you're weird. Like, they were doing that thing. And then she was like, yeah, all right, I get to defend my title still. So, Sol Ruka was
listen, I don't know, chat. Rich Crates sure knows a lot about a show he doesn't watch.
Heatwave. All I remember was from Heatwave.
You are locked into NXT. You are
not last week. We did the flagship last week, and I remember I took you away from NXT last week. So,
well, you are locked in. You couldn't wait to get to your TV after we were done last week because you are absolutely locked in. Does Ricky Saints take the NXT title from Obafemi on this show?
Sure.
How about Ethan Page, Tavion Heights? I mean, that's a match you got to have circled on your.
Fuck off. No.
All right. Okay.
No. I want no Ethan Page. Last week we talked about how we needed less Ethan Page, and then you said, "How about no Ethan Page is better?" I am making a decision in my life to have no more Ethan Page.
Have zero Ethan Page.
Yes, you can do whatever you can do whatever amount of Ethan Page you want. I am choosing zero. I'm done.
You choose zero Ethan Page in your life. You're never going to believe this one, but Javon Evans is taking on a big man. He's getting in there with Josh Briggs.
Oh, wow. So high flyer, scrappy high flyer versus a big guy. That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah. A lot of women's matches on this. And then we have JC Jane, the auntie of NXT. That's what the kids call her. I don't think the kids watch this show anymore, but if the kids did watch this show, they would call her that. She's taking on Lola Vice for the NXT Women's title.
AAA superstar Lola Vice.
That's your No Mercy show that you will be watching and reviewing come next week. If you don't come on this show next week fully prepared to review this, you're not going to just let down the chat. You're going to let down me. You got to be ready.
You're done. It's an intervention. You're done. You're not. You can't continue to let me do this. To myself and to the listeners. Yeah.
You're just completely, you're going to have the gall to show up here without watching this major pay-per-view event on Peacock.
It's a premium live event, Joe. It's a PLE. It's not available.
That's what I said. It's a pay-per-view event.
No. A premium live event.
I'm never using that terminology. Yeah. I don't work for WWE. I don't have to use their in-house terminology. What's next? Are we going to start calling the wrestlers superstars while we're at it?
Oh, I do. Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Well, I don't have to use their terminology.
Yeah, I prefer to. Now. I prefer to. Yeah.
I don't even know you anymore. You won't review NXT. You won't review Impact. What's it called? TNA.
TNA Victory Road. Yeah.
Trips me up every time. So anyway, see, what I did here was finagled 2 reviews out of you. And you didn't have them on the run sheet. You didn't want to do it, and you did it. 2
previews. Let me state, I am not reviewing you of those shows. I am more than happy to preview them for a brief amount of time here on this Flagship. I refuse.
Yeah, but now the
these.
Audience is excited about the shows, and they're all going to go watch.
I'm going to ask the chat if they are excited.
The chat is going to go watch Victory Road, and what else are they going to watch? And they're going to watch No Mercy.
No Mercy, of course.
Lil Wayne, No Mercy, No Mercy. You know the theme song for the Skip Bayless show that doesn't exist anymore? How did those 2 guys become friends, Skip Bayless and Lil Wayne?
Are they like earnest friends?
Yeah.
That's pretty, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
Skip Bayless and Lil Wayne. You bastards, you put up a poll. Well, you're about to get it thrown in your face because I know the chat's excited about both of these big-time pro wrestling pay-per-view events.
And look, if the chat doesn't vote your way, the chat they make up a small fraction of the people that listen to this Flagship every single week. So
you're preparing yourself for an answer you don't want to get.
Yeah, it's the big listeners. The big listeners are
cushioning.
The ones that,
Cushioning. These are the sickos. I mean, there's nothing going on in sports except a monster college football weekend, the Ryder Cup, NFL, baseball pennant races coming down to the final day. Other than that, there's not much going on in sports. So why wouldn't you settle in for some Victory Road and some No Mercy?
It's true. Yeah, SOM in the chat says, fuck it, Instant Reaction Live. Yeah, let's do it. Instant Reaction Live, WWE, No Mercy.
Okay, now hold on now.
No, yeah. Yeah, hold on.
Oh.
I'm going to really call your bluff. I will see you at 9 p.m. or whenever the fuck No Mercy ends on Saturday, Joe. I will be here waiting for you.
I got to throw up the Paulie Walnuts meme with the hand up. Oh, hold on. Hold on
Easy
now.
there, Tiger. Easy there, Tiger.
All right. We don't have to go that crazy. I am washing my hair that day. I don't know.
That is a big hair wash day. Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah. It's the wife. It's her birthday, so you can't. Yeah, you don't want to miss that.
I know that's not true.
That's not true, but yeah,
it's not true.
No. Thinking Fox says, I'm going to pirate Victory Road and demand a refund.
What if it's good? Still going to demand a refund?
Right. What if you get your money? Yeah, you could possibly get your money's worth. You never know. You never know with TNA Victory Road live.
You're like,
Friday.
There's so much. You're like, there's so much good wrestling I could be watching, and I was just sitting here thinking, is there?
Yeah, I don't know.
like in any other time in history,
there's other bad wrestling I can watch. I could try other bad wrestling and see if I enjoy the other bad wrestling more than I enjoyed this bad wrestling, I guess.
We didn't even have MLW on the run sheet. You
Fury Road. Fury Road's coming up this weekend. Yeah, you want to talk about Fury Road? Let's do it.
Yeah. Of course I do.
The big part about Fury Road, and the reason why we are so excited about Fury Road, is this is the that's Austin Aries match, right? His return.
The alleged match where he looked great and looked like he didn't miss a step is what we're told. So, yeah, that's the match.
All right, what do we got here? I got here. MLW, always good. Emails right there. I got them to help us preview this. All right, you ready?
Oh.
MLW is set to ignite the airwaves this Saturday, September 27th at 10 p.m. Eastern with MLW Fury Road 2025, a massive 2-hour free special airing on BN Sports and streaming worldwide on MLW's official YouTube channel, youtube.com/@MLW. The road ahead promises chaos, glory, and unforgettable fights. Headlining the night, the new MLW World Heavyweight Champion Mads Cruel Kruger collides with Bishop Dyer in a special non-title clash. Bishop Dyer hasn't moved up the rankings enough to get a title shot.
He hasn't earned a title shot.
No, not in MLW.
MLW does things right.
Right. In AEW, you can just waltz on in and get a title shot. Not in MLW. Yeah. No.
Fucking Lee Moriarty. I mean,
right.
What are we doing?
He ever beat? Yeah. No. Yeah. Bishop Dyer's got to move up the ranks, and he ain't ready yet. So it'll be a non-title clash between two of the sport's most destructive forces. Plus, for the first time since shocking the world, Alexander Hammerstone will break his silence on why he wrapped a steel chair around the new champion, Mads Cruel Kruger. The prestigious Opera Cup 2025 continues with high-stakes opening round bouts. Austin Aries squares off with the international sensation Kushida in a technical dream match.
What's longer, this opening round or the WWE ID opening round?
The ID opening round. I don't know if they've gotten out of it. Did they finally? I think they do finally have a champion now. The answer to that is the ROH Women's Pure title tournament.
That too.
Which I don't believe is actually in the second round yet, or is maybe in the second. I don't even know. Who knows? Who can say? Who can possibly say? Teton battles Volador Jr. in a clash of Lucha Libre royalty. And then, this is a good one here. The unpredictable Paul London collides with two-time MLW World Tag Team Champion Okamura in a battle of dangerous veterans. Said in the gay voice, or Chris Lovey or whoever used to say it. It was Chris Lovey or Jimmy Bowers, I forget.
I was on my College Football 26 stream last night playing Toledo, who beat me twice last year. They beat me in the regular season, and they beat me in the MAC championship game in Ford Field. I know everybody is locked in on this and cares deeply. So I was playing them in last night on the stream. And you ever play in College Football 26 and you just know you just threw a pick?
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah,
You make a bad read. So I threw the pass and I immediately went dangerous.
Yeah, that's good.
And I was like, holy shit! I just did a Gabe Sapolsky.
Jimmy Bowers,
like not on purpose. I was like, dangerous! But they dropped. Thankfully,
they dropped it.
Thankfully, they dropped it.
Good for them.
They dropped it. So anyway, listen, sign up for the Discord and watch me play College Football 26.
There it is. voicesofwrestling.com/Discord. Yes, there's a special CFB 26 Dynasty Discord channel where you can follow along. Also signed, Shotzi Blackheart takes on rising star Alejandro Quintilla. I don't know Quintilla. Have we seen her before?
No, we have. We do this every time.
Is she rising? Is she that rising of a star?
She works whenever they come to Texas.
That's right. She's their de facto Texas woman. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
I don't like her chances here. The legendary Atlantis, Blue Panther, and rookie phenom Diego Hill unite to face the marauding pirates of Zandokan Jr. Nah, I don't think so. Defunto and Barboza. I think they're going to have to call Jean-Pierre Lafitte to fill in because I don't think Zandokan's coming there for that show. He's getting knee surgery.
Not?
He's getting knee surgery. He's done.
He's getting knees. I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
He tried to tough it out.
He tried to, yeah, and I give him credit. And you could tell in the 92nd anniversary show was not going very well. You could tell last week in MLW wasn't going very well, and someone must have said, you should probably get that checked out. And he did, and yeah, it's fucked. So he's getting knee surgery, which sucks because he was one of the rising guys in Lucha this year, so that really stinks. And more than anything, it stinks for this. But actually, I remember that they taped this last week, so it's not going to matter. Zandokan will be there.
Yeah, he will be there.
Yeah, he will be there.
He will be there.
He'll
this
be miraculously
weekend.
recovered live.
Yes.
I'll tell you. He's getting knee surgery after the show. Don't look at the tweets where he showed you the x-rays and said, I'm getting surgery. No, that's all a lie. He's getting it after MLW Fury Road.
Listen,
yeah.
Time is a flat circle in MLW where it never stops. So he'll be there.
And then a lightning match. Oh, this, of course, I forgot about this. The lightning match. A lightning match featuring the only two-time MLW World Champion Satoshi Kojima versus the powerhouse Mr. Thomas.
Lightning match.
I forgot about the Kojima and Mr. Thomas lightning match.
Do you think they could rematch that in Arena Mexico
someday? Oh, hell yeah. Bring it in. Yeah, come on.
I'd love to see that, by the way.
Blaster McMassive versus the strongest arm in Arena Mexico. I'm down. Meanwhile, MLW President Cesar Duran and Selena De La Renta reveal their grand plans with the enigmatic Don Gato. And yes, tequila will flow.
The tequila is flowing. You know, we referenced that Austin Aries quote tweet where someone, where he mocked the person who said that he still has it. You know, remember we talked about that last week?
Mm-hmm.
where Aries was like, "You're damn right, I still have it," and all this.
Someone sent me this tweet. The best part about
someone sent me this tweet. Yeah, someone sent him the tweet. Turns out that was a listener.
It was. Yep.
Yeah, we have a lot of listeners. It was a listener who wrote that tweet, and they wrote it in earnest. They explained to us that they weren't trying to be a wise guy, and they weren't like surprised that Austin Aries is still good. They just happened to go to the show and were just tweeting out some thoughts and wanted to let everyone know that Austin Aries had a good match. So whatever Austin needs to motivate himself, I guess, right? So,
whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes.
Not that the KOC, the hashtag the KOC needs that much to motivate him. He always seems to find slights very easily.
Yes.
But whatever it takes for us to get the technical dream match that is Austin Aries versus Kushida. I'm down, and we should mention Blue Panther. Some of that MLW show. He's the new MLW Openweight champion. Hell of a match, I heard. I haven't watched that one yet. Blue Panther and Ultimo Guerrero. I think, was it from Saturday? Was it last Saturday, that match? Sunday, maybe? I forget. It was sometime after the anniversary show. They had a MLW Openweight title match, and I heard it was a hell of a match. So, all right.
Yeah.
All right, that's exactly what we wanted to start our show with. 45 minutes of TNA, NXT, and MLW.
We just previewed the 3 big shows of the weekend.
You're right.
And the thing is, who else is going to do all that and then review the big shows from last weekend? This is the only show on the planet that does this. Not getting this anywhere else. So I worked you into a shoot.
You kind of did, yeah.
I worked you into a shoot. And the thing is, we can make it entertaining. We always do.
We always find a way. Yeah. MLW is that is. I always like to pat ourselves on the back about our MLW stuff because we have people like earnestly being like, guys, you got to review MLW. Like, people care about our takes on MLW, which we always say. Hey, look, one of the hallmarks of this show from the very beginning was, and you and I still follow this, is do either what nobody else can do or do what other people do, but do it better, right? Well, in the case of MLW, we do it better than anybody because nobody else does it, but it doesn't matter. We do it even if anybody else did MLW previews and reviews, they wouldn't touch us. Wouldn't come close to doing the in-depth.
I agree.
And TNA preview, I mean, I don't think it gets better than your preview for TNA Victory Road live on TNA Plus this Friday.
No. Well, listen, when you're a true pro like myself, you can throw a card at me that I haven't looked at or glanced at once and preview it effectively.
Yeah.
I don't know. Victory Road might be a
that's a tough ride.
I'm a little tough. Busy weekend.
It was Slammiversary. There was the pre-show on Slammiversary was to circle it back was the Inspiration versus I believe it was Ash by Elegance and Heather by Elegance, which is a decidedly worse match than this one because at least this one has Maggie Lee, which is a monumental upgrade over FKA Dana Brooke. Heather Reckless, I'm sure she's very nice, but not the best worker. But yeah. That's gonna be a little rough.
Well, after those 3 extensive previews of the 3 big pay-per-view events, well, MLW is not a pay-per-view event coming up this weekend. Now we're going to review 2 of the 3 big pay-per-view events from this past weekend. But Rich, why don't you tell people why they won't be getting an all-out review?
Oh my God,
on
you're
this
right.
Flagship podcast.
They're not going to be getting an AEW All Out 2025 review on this podcast because we already did it. Yes, we did it. Saturday nights, immediately following All Out 2025, we did Instant Reaction Live. So you can go to the $10 tier. It's exclusively there, the audio replay as well as the live stream. If you want to listen live on YouTube, you can, or go back to the live replay on YouTube, you can, or audio replay, again, it'll be available on the $10 tier, flagshippatreon.com. 2 hours plus, about just under 2.5 hours, I think 2 hours and 15 minutes, recapping and reviewing All Out 2025. We always say we do the best AEW post pay-per-view reviews in the game because we go into extensive detail. This isn't just Joe saying a match and me saying, yeah, it was pretty good, and then we move on, or you talk about one move in a match, or we briefly discuss a booking decision. No. We get deep in the weeds with every one of those matches and every possible angle we can ever cover from one of these pay-per-view reviews. We do it. We're covering the Gates of Agony and their future plans. We're talking about MJF and why he's so frustrating. We're talking about Jungle Boy and how this is just an absolute, why are we trying to figure out something more with Jungle Boy? I mean, just extensive, long form thoughts about each and every match, the pay-per-view itself. We getting deep in the weeds. We get granular. We also review, the matches and talk about, the booking decisions of the match itself. Sure, of course we do that, but yeah, we just do it much deeper and much better than anybody else does, and do it. We're having some fun as well. So yeah, 2 hours and 15, I think, was the runtime on that, which, again, we also, of course, spend a little bit of time talking about how long the shows are, and then without any bit of irony, go nearly as long as the show itself, reviewing it, which is just great and one of our great hallmarks that we do. But that, again, is available on the $10 tier, flagship patreon.com, patreon.com/voices of wrestling, exclusively there, $10 tier for All Out 2025 Instant Reaction Live. So yes, you are not going to hear an All Out review here on this very show. But speaking of the Patreon, if you do want a review of Dynamite from last night, you can go to the $5 tier at flagshippatreon.com, and you'll get another great review from you, Thursday Dynamite review. You do it every single week, reviewing the weekly episode of Dynamite. Getting a little deep in the weeds with there, too. It's not, again, here's the match, here's the result, here's what I thought of the result, move on, next match. No, it's long-form thoughts about, different topics throughout the show instead of just a boring moves recap or whatever of the show, because nobody wants to hear that. I certainly don't, but there we go. So, all right. Let's do. Where do you want to go? You want to do Wrestlepalooza? You want to do CMLL? What are you thinking here?
Well, since we just discussed Victory Road, I think we should talk about the piece you wrote behind the paywall. It just the whole idea of aggregation and just taking quotes from podcast, like a wrestling personality will have a quote on a podcast, and various wrestling sites will then aggregate that and write a quote unquote entire article, which aren't really articles, which just have the spicy quote from the personality in question with no context, no analysis, no editorializing. And then and one lazy link back to the original source just to say that they did. And then, what you end up with is just a totally vapid, I hate to even call it an article, just a piece. We've all seen this kind of thing before. Send out a tweet, put something out on Facebook, do a blue sky with part of the salacious quote from the wrestling personality. Hope people click over to your site and get those AdSense rates up. And it's just completely vapid and nonsensical content. But I think what the danger in that is in today, the example that you used in the piece that you wrote was, and I'm paraphrasing, Santino Marella basically went on some podcast or something and said that if TNA gets a television deal, they will now either be the new number 2 or challenge to be number 2.
We're number 2. You better look out, because once we get that TV deal, we're number 2, man, is what he said. Right. Now, this was Santino Marella, so of course he probably had a little bit of flavor to it. But the headline is Santino Marella on TNA. Once we get that TV deal, we're number 2.
Right. And I think your point was, look, Santino Marella works for TNA. He's doing what anyone who works for a wrestling promotion should do, and that's promote the promotion. It makes you roll your eyes that Santino Marella would say that either earnestly or as a way, because it's so preposterous that it's not even based anywhere in reality. But the problem is when wrestling sites post a quote like that without the context, and when wrestling sites then make articles out of quotes like that without pushing back on it, right? That's how these bad narratives and bad conversations and bad trains of thought that's what enhances all of this.
Yes.
And then you end up with a bevy of pro wrestling fans who see this stuff, and they buy into the idea that TNA, just based on whatever television contract they get, which, by the way, isn't going to be worth $555 million.
I don't think so. Like I don't think it's going to be a 3-year, $555 million deal. I'm pretty confident in that.
there will still be zero business metrics in which TNA eclipses AEW for what is really the meaningless, utterly meaningless number 2 spot in pro wrestling anyway. This whole number 2 thing,
exhausting.
Right? It's just a product of the Monday Night War. So so this is just 30-year-old shit that doesn't mean anything. And the fact of the matter is, it didn't mean anything then either, who was number 1 and number 2. It really didn't. It was just useless bragging rights and a pissing contest. What did WCW earn tangibly by beating Raw's ratings for 83 weeks? Nothing. Nothing. There was no tangible gain, nothing earned. All it did was provide bragging rights and ultimately destroy the company because they went so over the top in attempting to beat WWE that they then, hot-shotted then when they started losing, they hot-shotted the company into bankruptcy and not bankruptcy, but into being canceled off the network for all the money that they lost. So this idea of who's number 2 is meaningless. Who cares? It really doesn't mean anything. It only means something to fans of a certain age who still hold the Monday Night War in some kind of reverence for some reason. Otherwise, it's utterly meaningless. That's besides the fact that TNA, and I hope they do get a television contract, whether they get a TV contract or not, again, I mean, anyone who understand, all of our listeners understand this, so we don't need to belabor it and beat it down. I wrote a whole article on it a few months ago, and we've talked about it a million times. The idea that TNA would even sniff AEW for this mythical number 2 spot is preposterous. They're nowhere near them in any business metric. But the problem is when there's articles like this and when there's social media posts like this with just these empty quotes with no pushback and no editorializing and no context, it perpetuates these awful discussions. Right. Because there is no intelligent conversation to be had that TNA is even within challenging AEW for what is ultimately a meaningless number 2 spot.
Right. It's an absolutely farcical statement that Santino is giving. There is no, unless their TV deal is more than $555 million, which it's not going to be, even if it was $1 more, like you said, AEW still eclipses TNA in every single other business metric: pay-per-view, live event business, et cetera, merchandise, everything else. And again, TNA is not going to get whatever TV deal they do get, if they do get it, is not going to be $555 million over 3 years. We know that.
Not even
no.
In the neighborhood, not even close. And it's just and then what you have when sites put out articles like this, and this is just one example. We see it all the time. People love to chop up Eric Bischoff's vapid quotes that are always very stupid. They love to do it with, you can go right down the line. I mean, they don't do it with Cornette as much anymore. He's kind of just faded into his own universe. But they love Bischoff's quotes. Mm-hmm. They love anyone from the Conrad verse. And there'll be a day where I'll have a lot to say. I've had a lot to say about Conrad Thompson, and there'll be a day where I have a lot to say more. I think he's one of the most destructive forces in pro wrestling over the last decade. And one day I'll expand on that. And it's just, you want wrestling media to be better, but the fact of the matter is they're never going to be. It's, as we've said a million times, it's just a collection of amateurs who don't know what they're doing and have no interest in doing it right, for the most part. Obviously, that's painting with a broad brush, but I think everybody understands what I'm saying. And, that type of content, that aggregation content, it's utterly useless. And in a case like this, it's actually a little bit destructive.
It's destructive and dangerous.
It's, and I don't want to equate since people thinking TNA will be the number 2 promotion to something that's quote unquote dangerous. But I think people get what we're saying. It's not going to hurt anybody, but what it does is it hurts the general discourse and knowledge of wrestling.
It poisons the well. It poisons the well with garbage. Yeah.
Yes. It poisons the well with a bunch of fucking garbage and perpetuates bad conversations. But these sites don't care. They don't care. They just care about let's get people to come to the site. And a salacious quote is going to do that for us, and, my feelings on aggregators are well known. I had a long diatribe about a year ago, I guess it was, on the topic right here on this show. I think aggregation is the lowest form of media. I don't have any respect for aggregators. I'll say that with my chest. I think it's a talentless, completely devoid of skill, and I don't have any respect for it. And I don't think there's any such thing as good aggregation. I think you could be less worse than really bad aggregation, but you can't be good at it. And the comp that I always make is I equate it to sweeping a floor. You can't truly be great at sweeping a floor. You either sweep everything up or you don't. You could be competent at sweeping a floor, but there's no such thing as being great at sweeping your kitchen floor. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like you're either competent at it or
no one says, wow, what a sweep
you're such
job
a great
was.
floor sweeper.
Yeah, my God.
If I sweep the kitchen floor, I'm going to do a competent job and sweep everything up. And I would never say I'm great at it. I'd say I did Now, if I hand my 8-year-old the broom, he's going to do a poor job. So you could be bad at it or you can be competent at it. And I think that aggregators are the floor sweepers of media. There's no talent involved. It doesn't require any talent. I would be embarrassed to put my name on aggregation. If I ever I would never aggregate. I would be embarrassed to put my name on a quote unquote article, which is just a quote from a podcast. And then it says, here's the link if you want to listen. And for more coverage on the thing we just aggregated, check out the rest of our site. How can you have any pride in putting your name on something like that? I mean, I just never would. I would find literally anything else to do for a living. And I doubt many of wrestling aggregators are making a true living at it. Might be some pocket cash, might be foot in the door. I understand all those things too. But I have no respect for aggregation. And aggregation does zero for the original source. And I've talked about this a million times. Okay? Somebody aggregates something from our podcast, let's say, and they send out a tweet. And let's say it's a very popular account that has 40,000 followers on Twitter, right? How many of those 40,000 people are going to see the tweet? First of all, 20% of those 40,000 followers are dead accounts or robots at minimum, right? Or just bots and dead accounts. So right off the top, you're dealing with, let's say, let's say, and I'll be generous, we're dealing with 30,000 real people who follow this account with 40,000 followers, let's say, okay? How many of those 30,000 people are seeing the tweet? Well, they have to be on Twitter at the right time of day and all these other things. They have to not just scroll by, right? How many of the people who actually see it then actually read it without just scrolling past it? Then what percentage of those people who actually read the tweet will then go, I want to know more about this I'm going to click. We're already down to maybe 5% of those 40,000 people at best. And then once they click the article, they're not going to my site, Rich. They're going to the site that aggregated the shit.
There's a link. And there's a link to us, though, right, eventually.
That's right. There's a link to us in that article. And what percentage of those people are then clicking that link to get to the original work that was originally aggregated? People see the point. By this point in time, if a 40,000 follower Twitter account aggregates something and tweets it out, you are lucky. I would say you are fortunate if 10 people ultimately click that link and go back to the original source material. I think 10 is a lot. And do you know how we know that, Rich?
We
have the data.
Yep.
Because we have a site.
Yep.
Because we have a site. It does nothing. Aggregation, let me be clear. Aggregation does nothing for the people who create the original work. Nothing. It is 100% to the benefit of whoever is doing the aggregation. They are leeches. They are leeches benefiting from other people's work. It provides nothing. Okay? It's a complete waste of time. And there was an aggregator who we had a little tiff with about a year ago who then, went on social media and proudly proclaimed, I will never aggregate Voices of Wrestling again. And my response was, good. Don't ever aggregate me ever again. I don't need it, don't want it. Because you're getting more out of this than me. And I don't need your aggregation. I'm not going to say the site. I'm not going to say the person. I don't need their rub. I don't need their rub. Been doing this for 12 years. I don't need nobody's rub. Now listen, if you have a couple million followers, feel free to aggregate. But as far
that percent will that trickle down. That'll help a little bit. Yeah.
But as far as I don't need anyone's rub in pro wrestling, no less a bottom of the barrel aggregator. Okay, so we're perfectly fine with that. And by the way, we've made many mistakes. I'm a jerk. A lot of people don't like me. A lot of people don't like our site. One thing that I am extremely proud of, is that we have never once aggregated anything ever on our site.
And never will.
Not one time, and we never will. And do we have less money because of it?
Probably.
Yes. Do I care? No. I don't want to make money that way. I'll make less money than to be a leech and provide nothing. But if we did aggregate, we'd add a little editorializing or context to things, which these sites never do. And that was the point of your article. So I've taken up all of your oxygen. I apologize.
You're good.
You know how I get. I get. But go ahead. You should talk about your own work.
No, you were cooking. It's all in there. If you want to go flagshippatreon.com, I go into some detail about it. But yeah, essentially it was just, that Santino article, I kind of likened it to in baseball. Let's say Cal Raleigh is who I brought up, because Cal Raleigh had just hit his 60th home run. So that's kind of inspiring. I was watching highlights of him hitting his 2 home runs last night to get to 60. I don't know if he had any today, but he's awesome. He's really fun to watch. He's a big fat catcher and he just hits big ass bombs or whatever. But I likened it to him doing an interview after the game and saying, I have the most home runs ever, or I had the most home runs in a season ever. And a reporter not saying, well, no, Cal, you don't. I mean, Barry Bonds had 73 in 2001, and McGuire had 70 in 1998, and I mean, Aaron Judge just had 62 a couple years ago or whatever. But in wrestling media, Cal Raleigh, I have the most home runs anyone has ever had in a season, would be a headline. And then it would be Seattle Mariners star catcher Cal Raleigh, who just hit 2 home runs last night to get to 60, says he has the most home runs ever. Insert quote of Cal Raleigh, I have the most home runs ever. For more on MLB news, follow us here. And that would be it. And not like that would never happen in sports, because it would say, Seattle Mariners star catcher Cal Raleigh, for some reason, thinks he has the most home runs ever, but clearly, he doesn't. And we know he doesn't, because here's the people who have more home runs than him. But in wrestling, we don't do that. We would just say, Cal Raleigh said this, thus we must post it. And we cannot add a paragraph. We can't dig in deeper to figure out why he's saying what he's saying, what motivations he might have. Maybe he doesn't believe that Aaron Judge legit hit 62. Maybe he thinks Aaron Judge and Barry Bonds and Mark McGuire were all on performance-enhancing drugs, so they don't count, but I count. My home runs count because I'm not on performance-enhancing drugs. Look at me. I'm just a big fat catcher or whatever. That would work. That'd be fine, but you'd have to dig into it. That would never happen. They would just hear that quote from this random article, or he would just say this quote in the post game. We would just publish it. Cal Raleigh, I have the most home runs anyone's ever had in a season, and that'd be it. And we wipe our hands of it and go, all right, yeah, whatever. And that's insane. That would just never ever happen in anything else. And that's how ridiculous it is to just post Santino Marella saying, yeah, if we get a TV deal, we'll be number 2, which he can do. I have no problem with Santino. Again, no issue whatsoever with Santino thinking that his company is going to be the ever important number 2. But the article has to. You have to add truth to things. You don't have to just publish things. Because there's this idea that, you can't add your opinion to news. Oh, that's a news article. And you can't add your opinion to news. That's not your opinion. It's the truth. The truth would be, despite Santino's claims, AEW recently signed a 3-year, $55 million deal, and it's unlikely that TNA will sign a deal of that level. Plus, you can add in attendance and do a little bit of work.
Whatever else you want.
Do a little bit of work. That's not an opinion. That's just the fucking facts.
And copy pasting a quote or transcribing a quote is not what we mean by when we say work. That's grunt work that fucking AI is going to do someday. And replace all these people.
Yeah, and it's not that hard to then, to me, I would crack my knuckles and say, all right, that's kind of interesting that Santino says this. Let's dig into it. Let's see if that's even realistic. And the conclusion you would come to with any amount of research or reporting or journalistic or whatever would be, yeah, he's saying that, but it's probably not going to happen given this factor, this factor, this factor. Hey, maybe TNA does sign a TV deal worth $1 billion, but that's very unlikely and probably not going to happen. Whatever. Do something, anything. That's all I'm asking. But you have to add facts to things. And that's one of my biggest issues, and I've ranted about it a lot. Eric Bischoff's the one I always bring up, too, because Eric Bischoff will say, Tony Khan has no TV deal and AEW's running out of money or whatever. And then that will be the article. The article will be Eric Bischoff says, Tony Khan doesn't know what he's doing and AEW's running out of money. And it will say, On last week's episode of 83 Weeks, Eric Bischoff discussed AEW's business, quote, Tony Khan's running out of money and AEW's going to go out of business, period.
Right.
End of quote. Listen to 83 Weeks on 83weeks.com and follow AEW News here at blah, 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 or whatever.
Right.
Fuck off. You don't have
and then people repeat that.
Yes.
Then people repeat that.
It's
Eric Bischoff
said
they're running out of money, right?
Right, and it's you can't do that. It's just irresponsible and awful. It just makes all of this dumber. This shit's already so fucking dumb. We don't have to make it dumber. And stuff like that makes it dumber because, again, do your little salacious headline if you want, but just put a little bit of effort in to say, despite Bischoff's claims, AEW recently signed a $555 million television deal, and AEW president Tony Khan has said that the company is now in the black and is making money. Like, add a little bit of that.
And a quick check of Google shows the Khan family is worth $20 billion. Anything.
Right. Like, just something. Anything. It's all I'm asking. It's not. You don't have to write a 10,000 word article all about Tony Khan and the Khan family business. But for God's sakes, you have to add, because that is the facts. You can publish utter shit, and you can put quotes around it. That's fine. And you can say this person said something that's fucking stupid. Here, go read it. But you gotta add the truth to it. And that's not your opinion. The truth is not your opinion. The truth is the truth. And that bothers me so much when I see aggregators do that. And it's just, here's the quote, there we go. And it's like, no, that is irresponsible, and you are poisoning the well with that shit. And I hate it, and I'm sick of it. And it's never going to change. And I'm fighting uphill, and it's just, we've lost, and we're going to keep losing, and it's never going to change. So eat it, Arby's.
Figure 4 Weekly, The Observer does it now on their front page. Listen, I'll just say it. The site that I was annoyed with a year ago was Post. Who's more professional than John Pollock? But it was Post that I was annoyed with. Now, the guy the aggregator that was doing it, I don't think works there anymore. But it was Post I was annoyed with because they were aggregating poorly on Twitter. They weren't providing links or ats. The Super J Cast, Joel, all he wanted was an at in the tweet. That's it. He asked for an at in a tweet or a link. And you know why they don't? I'm going to let you guys in on something. You know why there's no links or ats, or rarely, especially link. You know why there's no links in tweets? Because then it stifles their own visibility. It stifles their own engage. What's the word I'm looking for? Impressions. So you reply with the link. That's the trick. But see, that's bullshit. Because again, it's leech activity, and you're only out for yourself. And then what these aggregators do is they couch it in, oh, we're helping you. We're helping you. Look at all these tweets from micropods who thanked me for aggregating them. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a shit about these micropods. Neil, I don't need your rub. And I'm referring back to that situation. But you get the idea. But it's all these sites now. Aggregations everywhere. And it's just, it's bad enough, but it's almost always done poorly. It's never a competent sweeping of the floor. It's almost always done poorly. Where, look, how many times were we aggregated on like news that I reported or something and they totally got it wrong?
Yeah.
And now here's the thing. The aggregator doesn't have to do the damage control. I do. Because you got what I said wrong. I didn't do anything wrong.
What was the Osprey one that we're still?
There was a bunch of them.
Yeah.
But the point is, when these aggregators get it wrong, you're the one that has to clean up the mess and say, I didn't say that. This is what I said. The aggregator doesn't give a fuck. They're moved on. They've aggregated 16 things by then. And that's why I'm perfectly fine never being aggregated. Leave me alone. Let me exist in my little universe. Okay? Because it's just a headache to get aggregated. So, anyway, so that was your piece behind the paywall today on the aggregation. So,
and one thing, someone in the chat room said, Thinking Fox said we should just mass report those aggregators and have their sites shut down. I don't want the site shut down.
That's not.
I just want them to do better. I just want it to be better. Yeah, I think it's good that there is a ton of different wrestling websites out there. I think there's a lot of talented people out there. I just think that a lot of people are chasing ghosts with low effort content, and I think a lot of these people can, and I know they can do better. They can do better. And that's what frustrates me is I know, because I grew up in an era where I think the wrestling media and the wrestling internet was better. And I'm seeing how bad it is now. And it's just like, man, we're chasing pennies here with low effort, low, energy content. We can do better. We can all do better.
Not only as you can add like facts to news, total bullshit, but it's also just an excuse. I mean, let's be honest. Because we know that's nonsense. If someone says something that's patently false, you're allowed to correct that with facts. You don't have to print lies and just let the reader decide. No, you can correct fucking bullshit with facts. I don't need to go to journalism school to know that.
Yeah, somewhere along the line, that became a thing that you have to. Well, it's just that's what he said. No, I can't add my opinion. That's the truth is not an opinion. The truth is the truth. So there's that. But anyway, Flagship, Patreon.com if you want to read that, to go into some extra detail about that too. It's called Today in Bad Wrestling Journalism: Santino Marella and TNA Becoming Number 2. So that is available on the $10 tier. Flagship, Patreon.com. So. All right. Yeah, we got, actually real quick, I got something I got breaking news here. I don't know if it's as, maybe not that relevant to you, Joe, but I think our listeners might enjoy this. I got some breaking news about September 27th. There's a Stardom show, big time Stardom wrestling show. And we're going to talk about a Thez Flair Wrestler of the Year candidate later in the show with Mystico and the great match that Mystico had with MJF. But when you pressed me on that question last week or 2 weeks ago, I forget what it was, I mentioned from Stardom, Saya Kamatani, I think, is a legit contender for the Thez Flair Wrestler of the Year award in the Wrestling Observer newsletter. And she's got a big match coming up this weekend, September 27th, Korakuen Hall. It's title for title, her and Azumi, World of Stardom champion Saya Kamatani versus strong women's champion Azumi. Well, just got a note here from someone that said this is going to air for free on YouTube. They're going to stream that show for free on YouTube. And plus it's going to, I think some part of it, I'm trying to get this correct. Okay, so they did air a Saya Kamatani Hanan match on a variety show on terrestrial TV, which is the first broadcast of women's wrestling on terrestrial TV in 23 years for Japan. So it seems to be causing a stir on Twitter, and lots of Japanese people, who watch the variety show but maybe don't always watch wrestling. And then they followed that up with saying, hey, the show is actually going to be for free on YouTube. So that's going to be a hell of a match and a hell of a show. YouTube, that's pretty big. That's pretty cool. So definitely recommend people check that out, because I think Saya Kamatani's had a great year, and Azumi is one of the best women's wrestlers in the world, and that should be pretty fucking great. And Korakuen Hall should be probably sold out too, because she's been moving business there too. So it's going to be an interesting thing to keep an eye on for this weekend.
Well, with Victory Road and Heatwave coming up this weekend, yeah, I don't know if people are gonna have time for that.
So it's actually, man, it might be going up against Victory Road. I hate to say this. I think it's Friday at 10:30 Eastern.
Yeah,
Friday at 10:30 Eastern. Ah, shit. Yeah, you might be able to. Well, you know what? Victory Road will probably just be wrapping up, and then you can go to YouTube if there's time and watch the Stardom show. So that's cool.
All right, so I guess we should do the Wrestlepalooza. I guess before we get into the show itself, while we're talking about wrestling media, we do have to address this Andreas Hale story. Is it Andres Hale? Andreas? How do you pronounce his first name? He's been around forever.
I've always said Andres, but
well, I'm going to refer to
Andreas?
him as
no, it's probably Andreas. It's probably Andreas. Now that I read it again, Andreas. We're going to go with.
It's going to be Mr. Hale.
We're going to do the New York Times. From me. We want better journalism out of wrestling, so we're going to now do MLW period, W period, E period, and Mr. Hale. Yes, let's do New York Times style for all of our stuff.
Yeah, so the point here, he's been a fight sport and boxing and pro wrestling writer for a long time in and around ESPN and some other places. And he wrote a review of the Wrestlepalooza on ESPN, and he gave the show a final grade of C. And he laid out all of his reasons and all of that. And basically saying it was an average show, which after watching Wrestlepalooza, I would concur. I thought it was a bang average show, probably a little below average by my standards, but I could see, if you like WWE, bumping it up a little to an average. I think C was a fair grade, is my point. And he explained himself, and he's been writing about wrestling for a long time. But many people have taken issue with that, including, disappointingly enough, people in media who seem to be people with bylines who seem to be both surprised and also disappointed and annoyed on the basis of basically, I can't believe that someone who works for ESPN, and can't believe that ESPN would publish such a scathing review of a show with this brand new property that they're paying the media rights for, and we're just outraged. I mean, there was legitimate outrage that Hale gave this show a C, which, look, when it comes to WWE fans, look, I think a large portion of the WWE fan base is low IQ and has poor emotional maturity. You know, I say that all the time, and I'm not necessarily even doing shtick, especially the online and Twitter contingent of WWE fans. It's very obvious these people have very poor emotional maturity. So I think what this comes down to when it comes to those people is they're not used to media not kissing WWE's ass, because the feckless and amateur wrestling media largely just kisses their ass. They don't criticize WWE. Most of wrestling media are a bunch of amateurs looking for engagement. So they're mostly positive towards WWE because that's what's earning engagement these days, because there's a lot of WWE fans out there. So I think it was kind of a shock to the system to see a real world reviewer on a real world site like ESPN. Not that ESPN is the bastion of journalistic integrity, but compared to pro wrestling media, it may as well be the fucking, I don't even know what to use anymore.
I don't know, but this week has been proof positive of that for sure, which is startling, because in the sports world, we all point and laugh at ESPN and how, especially now that they own and they own slivers of these sports leagues or what. I mean, they've completely lost all, modicum of objectivity and journalistic integrity. But good Lord, when you see how they handle wrestling and how the wrestling fans handle them, good Lord.
Yeah. So the point is ESPN, which, just severely outclasses and totally laps any pro wrestling media entity, gives an actual real review. And WWE fans who are emotionally immature and WWE itself, I saw that quote coming out of Wrestle Votes, speaking of amateurs, from inside the company, that people in the company were surprised at the bad review that ESPN gave them, because WWE itself and WWE's fans are used to everybody kissing their ass. And ESPN and Andreas Hale isn't going to play that game. He saw an average show and he gave it an average grade. And there's nothing wrong with that.
A C. I love the freak out of a fucking
He didn't even give it an F. I mean, C. People should read some of our reviews of WWE shows.
Or listen to what we're about to talk about in a couple minutes here.
Right.
Let me tell you, my grade was not a C on this show. I'll tell you that.
And I think that's really what it comes down to. But fans are fans and dumb people are dumb people. What was more disturbing to me were professionals of varying degrees in media also condemning his score and saying that, there was one guy, and I don't remember who it was, and I guess it isn't even important, who had bylines on some real sites, who was saying that Hale went into business for himself and unfortunately probably caused his bosses a lot of headaches because he dared to write a non-positive review. First of all, I think that person's wrong. I don't think the editors at ESPN give a fuck what Paul Levesque thinks of some review on ESPN. I don't, because ESPN, again, they have to write bad things a lot about much more powerful partners than WWE. And the other thing is ESPN's paying WWE a lot of money. They reserve the right to be critical if they don't think the product is up to snuff. They're the ones paying them. Okay, let's not lose sight of this. WWE works for them.
Yep.
In this scenario. Okay?
If WWE has the privilege of being on ESPN, not the other way around.
If the NFL has a bad slate of games this weekend, someone on ESPN is well within their right to go on ESPN and say, man, the NFL game stunk this weekend. Here's why. But it's only the piss baby, emotionally immature WWE fan base that takes offense to things like that. Because these are not real people. Hale did nothing wrong. And by the way, he doubled down, and good for him. There is no reason he should back down to this shit. I mean, give me a fucking break. And by chance, if he does get some pushback from his bosses, and I don't think he will, they could fire me. I would never compromise my integrity and not do a real review. I don't care what they're paying me. And I'm sure he feels the same way. He's been at this a long time. And he did double down. And good for him. You know? So this is utterly ridiculous. His review was fair. And fuck, even if you don't agree with it and don't think it was fair, even if he gave it an F and was really hard on it, he has enough time in this business to where I believe he believes what he's saying. Okay? This is not some rank amateur from one of these goofy sites where you can't believe anything they're saying. And you know the irony of all of this is 2 days before that review, he wrote a fucking puff piece. He wrote a fucking puff piece for ESPN. And this is where I'll criticize him some and be fair about it. He wrote a puff piece putting over that lame Seth Rollins angle that didn't fool anyone and put over the idea that Seth Rollins fooled the entire wrestling world and WWE pulled a fast one with the fake injury and the cash-in, which was nothing more than a puff piece to promote Wrestlepalooza.
Right. When any reasonable wrestling media, and most of them snuffed it out immediately and said, this is not a real injury. This can't be a real injury. This is a fake. Must be a story.
Dave Meltzer sniffed it out immediately and was skeptical.
John Pollock. I know Post Wrestling and John Pollock had it immediately.
John Pollock broke the story.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
But when I was setting that up, I reviewed that show on a Flagship Plus. And on my review, just a couple hours after the show was over, I said, man, it sure looks like a work to me. Didn't look like a legitimate injury to me. I guess we'll find out. I guess we'll see. Didn't fool me. Didn't fool Dave. Didn't fool anyone. And then a day later, John Pollock actually had the reporting that it was, in fact, a work. The only person that seemed the fool was Mike Johnson, who pushed back on that and finger-wagged John Pollock and Dave Meltzer.
No way. Really? Are you sure?
Now listen, Mike Johnson usually gets things right. But he got this one wrong. He got worked. He got worked by what he saw, and he got worked by people in the company. It happens. It's pro wrestling. They're liars. We all get worked sometimes. I'm not even necessarily being critical of Mike Johnson. All I'm saying, now he shouldn't have went after those other, because they turned out that they were right. And I don't know if he ever apologized, but he should have. He's never apologizing to Meltzer, let's be honest. I don't know if he apologized to Pollock. I have no idea. But the point here is, Hale put out a puff piece, putting over that awful angle that didn't fool anyone, right, to promote Wrestlepalooza. He just did a puff piece 2 days earlier. And now you're claiming that the guy, and now these psycho WWE fans are digging through his tweet history and see that he's praising AEW. And of course, what do they always defer to when anyone is critical of WWE? They're on the take from Tony Khan. They're fucking AEW. Hale just likes wrestling, man. He likes AEW. He likes WWE. And when it's bad, he tells you he doesn't like it. He's just an honest guy who likes wrestling. Not everything is one side or the other. It's ridiculous. But that's the same game they play with Dave. Because Meltzer, because he's not wholly fucking positive on WWE, right? He must be on the take. Because Voices of Wrestling isn't positive on WWE, we must be on the take. How many times have we heard that the last 6 years? Because this guy gives a WWE show a C and has tweets saying, I really like that Swerve match from a fucking year and a half ago. He must be on the take. And I know I'm just screaming at the already converted. I get that. Our audience is sophisticated enough to understand this. But what an utterly fucking ridiculous story this was. And I'm so glad he doubled down. And he should never back down. I mean, the guy wrote a puff piece 2 days earlier. That's what people should be taking issue with. The puff piece he wrote 2 days earlier, which was nothing more than a promotional article on the site of an entity they're paying $1 billion to. I get it. But that's what you should be rolling your eyes at, not an honest review. Nobody thought this show was good. Where's the A+ reviews for this? I haven't seen one. Anyway, Rich, what do you think of this fucking
and also, who fucking cares? If the person thought it was a C and you thought it was an A, then go on with your life. Just continue your life. It doesn't matter that this person, the one that, like you said, I don't really care about the dumb fans that are just like, no, that's wrong. It was a good show. Whatever. Fine. Great. You found it was a good show and this person thought it was a mediocre show. That's fine. Whatever. That's not even bad. We always have to preface that. C isn't bad. C is mediocre. But the thing that got me was people saying it was irresponsible or bad on him or he went into business for himself. Yeah. That's the stuff that bothers me because you are at absolutely zero obligation as a writer for ESPN, and I think now WWE fans are going to have to start realizing this, and WWE adjacent media, I guess, are going to have to start realizing this. You are at no obligation whatsoever to. You don't work for. He works for ESPN. He does not work for WWE. Now, I get it. If he was a paid employee of WWE and he was writing an article on WWE.com and he said this show sucked and you shouldn't watch it or whatever, I could get how people might say, well, that's a little weird. I wouldn't do that. I mean, I would still say whatever. Who cares? Give your your journalists some ability to bring their own opinions into it. But he works for ESPN. He is under zero obligation to WWE to pretend or to lie to his audience and say this show was really great and I loved it, just because that's what his bosses would have wanted. I mean, that we're way gone if we're doing this.
I'm not even sure his bosses would want that.
No, I don't think they would either. I don't. I think a lot of people are going to have to get used to that now that WWE has a big boy.
Correct.
There's a good and a bad of it. We talked about the ESPN deal. The ESPN deal comes with a big apparatus. A gigantic media apparatus, and that's one of the big people are saying, oh, well, UFC was on WWE or on ESPN, and that didn't matter, and ESPN's stupid, and nobody cares about ESPN. It's not necessarily just about ESPN. It's about the fact that ESPN is a machine. That's a media machine. That's a viral media machine. They do videos, they do articles, they do tweets, they do I mean, they nail a lot of those different things. They are really, really good at promoting and getting things out there, and just that is a massive media apparatus that WWE now has on their side. But the flip side of that is that there is still, ESPN still, as small as it is, they do still kind of keep a little bit of their own integrity and this own. We're not a house organ for these sports. We are still going to report on news. If an NFL player gets arrested, we're going to tell you an NFL player got arrested and why. If this happens and this sports commissioner is ousted for whatever, we're going to tell you why the sports commissioner. That sort of stuff.
And maybe more appropriately, there's going to be opinion columns at ESPN burying a sports commissioner if they think they're not doing a good job.
Of course,
even if they're in business with those sports.
Yeah.
Even if they're in business with those leagues. Just like Hale is going to give you an honest review of a show that he thought was average. And I'm telling you, these WWE fans are not used to the real world.
No. This has been a shock to the system.
Yeah. They're used to the bullshit fucking world of wrestling media is what they're used to. Where they're all busy kissing WWE's ass and showing up to press conferences to tell Levesque what a great job he's doing and tossing them softballs and kayfabe questions. That's what they're used to. So they had a hard time handling a fucking C. I wish he would have given it an F to see how that would have gone over. And you know what? If he thinks the next one is an F, he'll give it an F. I believe in that.
Oh, yeah. The way he's handled this week, I'm sure he is just going to say, hey, I didn't like the show. Here it is. Here's an F.
Yeah. So that whole situation was a fucking joke. That pissed me off, man. Mm-hmm. When I saw some people who really, not dopey fans, not dopey Twitter engagement accounts that, we all know who they are. No, like people with bylines going after this guy and saying he didn't do the right thing and he was out of line. I mean, what the fuck? It just makes you sick. Rich, we're on the losing team and we always will be when it comes to this shit. It's just, there's no hope. So the only thing we can do is come on here and complain about it. And then have people get mad at us and everything. But that's fine.
Yeah.
It's Kelly Clarkson here to talk all things Wayfair, the best place to buy furniture, decor, and anything else you can think of to create a home you absolutely love. I know when I shop with Wayfair, I find options for every style, whether I'm feeling boho or farmhouse, modern, traditional, French country. I can find exactly what I need for my home and more. No matter your space, style, or budget, shop Wayfair.com to make your home way more you.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
So anyway, Wrestle-Palooza, the C show. Listen, I agree with the grade. I have a feeling you think it was worse than the C. This was not a good show by any means. To me, this was a lot of what you get with a typical WWE pay-per-view. They're usually, just average and boring. Very rarely do they have a great show these days. Sometimes they have shows that are below average and boring, which is the worst combination. But I think my big picture thoughts on Wrestle-Palooza were I absolutely loved the Brock Lesnar John Cena match. even more than I thought I was going to love it. And oddly enough, that's the one that the WWE fans seem to hate.
Oh,
but
have you seen the cage match rating?
Yeah, I don't understand.
Low.
I thought it was great.
It rocked.
And I'll get into why.
It rocked so much.
I'll talk about why. And then, I thought Stephanie Vakir, Io Sky was half of a very boring match and then half of a very good match, which came out to, it was all right. I think people are overrating that match to some extent. They did save it though in the backstretch. They had a very boring. It was a 19-minute match, and 12 minutes of it was just dry as a bone. And and I guess the closing stretch was really good. But and then the rest of the card just fucking existed.
Mm-hmm.
It just fucking existed. So what are your big picture thoughts on it?
Very similar. I mean, I loved Brock and Cena for all the reasons that we're going to get into here in a minute. And I thought the rest of it was pretty fucking boring. And that's Levesque pay-per-views. They're usually pretty fucking boring. And
that's a Levesque. This was a Levesque pay-per-view,
it was
man.
True and true. All the way through to him narrating the opening video, being in the ring with a literal fucking spotlight on him as we enter the ESPN era. Welcome to the era of WWE on ESPN. It's a fuck you, dude. Come on.
It's always about him.
Always. He narrates the video and he's literally in the ring, literally in the spotlight. It's unbelievable.
Listen,
but
it's the Dana White playbook. Okay. UFC is Dana White. He's more recognizable than 99% of UFC's current roster. We all know that. Okay. And this is the playbook here too. But see, here's the thing. It was always like this with Levesque because he used to do this with Black and Gold NXT.
Yeah.
He'd be the first one out of the curtain.
Mm-hmm.
He's just an egomaniac. Is what it is.
No, it was like this his entire wrestling career too. So
his entire career, everything. So
at all that this would be the case, but
so it's Anyway,
spend more time figuring out how to book shows that have any sort of interesting thing going on. Because once Brock got done decimating John Cena, which again was awesome, and we'll talk about it in a minute. The rest of the show was just nothing happening. I mean, you're right that I had the exact same thought about Vakir and Io Sky, and I was very curious what you thought of it because I heard all this huge praise. Oh, that saved the show, or what a great match, or oh, that really, this and this and that. And then I watched it and I was like, this is fine. I mean, it's a pretty. And like really boring at the beginning. And I'm thinking, what is the stuff that people love about this match? And then I admit, the last couple of minutes got really, really good. And when it was over, I was like, it was a pretty okay match. And that was it. I mean, that was it. The rest of it, I mean, AJ Lee and CM Punk versus The Vision and that 29-minute and 15-minute match. I mean, I'm going to bury the hell out of that match when we get to it in a minute. That combined with the Cody and Drew McIntyre were two of the most nothing happening matches that literally took up, the last 90 minutes of the show. Because you had long entrances. AJ Lee got a long entrance. Obviously, AJ Lee and CM Punk were going to get long entrances. Becky and Seth and just, oh God, ungodly never-ending entrances for them. Introductions. Then Cody has a long entrance. Drew has a long entrance. Long introductions there. And then in between those matches, we had the Undertaker-Stephanie McMahon thing. And then 2 commercial breaks. And it was like, Jesus Christ, this thing. I'm looking at my bar on my very legitimate ESPN Unlimited subscription that I, of course, watch a show on. And I'm looking and I'm like, how is there's 2 more matches. There's like 95 minutes left in the show. And I'm thinking, what? And then, the reason is because we had a bunch of entrances, a bunch of introductions, a 30-minute match and effectively a 20-minute match that were just boring and nothing happened. And then a Stephanie McMahon Undertaker thing. And I was like, that's how you do it. That's how you fill 90 minutes and have nothing to show for it, because those were just nothing, boring ass matches. And then, the Vision and the Usos was memorable for various reasons, but none of which was the bell to bell.
Well, let's go through them. Yeah, let's go through them. So we open up with the Wingstop arrivals. So,
were they sponsored by Wingstop? I didn't realize they were sponsored by Wingstop. The Wingstop arrivals. Okay.
The arrivals now, where we film the wrestlers walking into the arena while they make sure they're not looking into the camera.
Mm-hmm.
They're kind of copying what like the NBA does when they show fucking I don't know, pick an NBA.
James Harden entering the arena.
James Harden walking into in the bowels of the arena with what is always a terrible outfit and dragging his bag behind him.
Usually a handbag. A lot of the NBA guys
now they have it.
A lot of the NBA guys have their like garish outfits and then they have a handbag.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true. They got right. But WWE is not just copying this now, but now they found a corporate sponsor for it. It is the Wingstop arrivals that we are told are happening as we see the Usos walking in and whoever the fuck else is walking in, and totally organic and real. This is really when they're arriving, Rich. This is a shoot. They're truly just arriving at the arena when we're filming this. At least with the NBA, like James Harden really did just get there.
Yes, James Harden
and parked his car and
he is.
You know what I mean? Like
he is still sweating out last night's alcohol or earlier this morning's alcohol. And yeah, he did arrive at the building 35 minutes before tip off. Yes, but I would assume that Big Jim and Main Event Jay probably arrived a couple hours ahead of time. But
yeah, so we had the Wingstop arrivals, then we had the Levesque segment that you discussed where he compared ESPN and WWE. He said they're very much the same because they were both underdog upstarts that nobody gave a chance.
I'm so glad you pointed that out too. In my notes, I said underdog upstarts. Fuck off. You were in New York. You were in New York City. What?
Yeah.
He's showing like 1979 WWF, Vince McMahon doing an introduction for, we have some great wrestling for you. By the way, big old pop for old Vincent Kennedy McMahon on that. I don't know if you noticed that. They decided to put him front and center and said, what happens here? And guess what? Big ass pops for Vince McMahon. Don't think that if that guy came out, he wouldn't get, a massive pop and a bunch of people bowing in front of him. But so they're airing footage from like a 1979, WWF show or because I think ESPN was 79 or somewhere in that range, or ESPN, I should say. Was somewhere in that late 70s. I forget exactly the year that they started, but so they're showing a WWF, and it's like, I'm Vince McMahon here with World Wrestling Federation action here on USA Network, and it's like, plucky underdogs. You were selling out Madison Square Garden for decades before that. What are you talking about?
It was the underdog upstart that was the biggest territory and highest grossing territory in the country.
In New York City.
New York. Already, Vince bought the biggest and most profitable territory in the country for $1 million that he didn't have to pay back immediately and with no interest, and to his dad. And with the security blanket of Gorilla Monsoon would take it over for a while if he couldn't pay, and then he was going to get it anyway. Like, but the plucky underdog story.
On the Vince McMahon documentary that Linda McMahon, Vince McMahon was like, if I missed even one payment, Dad was going to take the company from me. Cut to Linda. Yeah, we basically made those payments very easily on the MSG house shows. It was we didn't sweat it at all ever. It was just perfect. Yeah. I loved it.
Because it was only $1 million, $2 million or $1 million, whatever it was.
It was so easy.
Yeah.
Vince is, my dad said, if I couldn't make a payment, it was difficult, but we made the payments. And he said Gorilla would get the company if I couldn't do it. It smashed to Linda. Yeah, it was really easy. It was no problem at all. So.
Yeah. And the whole Gorilla thing, that's a safe landing spot. Like, it wasn't going to go to someone out on the outside who was going to bump Vince out.
No.
It's going to go to Gorilla, who's going to give it to fucking Vince. So it's like, what are we doing?
The plucky upstart World Wrestling Federation in 1979. Yep.
Yeah. Biggest territory in the country. So, we had to deal with that, all that fucking nonsense again. And, and then they brought in McAfee because we were in Indianapolis.
Mr. Indianapolis, Pat McAfee. All right. I mean, he's from Pennsylvania. He played college football in West Virginia.
Yeah. Played for the Colts, and he still lives there.
Okay. Mr. Indianapolis, huh?
Oh, big pop.
I mean, he got a big pop. I don't know if he's Mr. I don't know. Mr. Indianapolis seems a little dubious, but
well, that's what he calls himself.
Yeah. All right.
It's marketing. He is
good at it.
Say whatever you want about McAfee.
He's good at marketing himself. Yeah.
And it's probably true. You can't knock his hustle.
No. Oh God, the hustle. Yeah.
There's this thing.
Him and Stephen A. Smith are the two guys that I'm like, fucking go home and see your family for a week, please.
Right. But you can't knock the hustle. It's like there's this thing where and a lot of people are like this. If they don't like someone, they can't give them any credit for anything. And I just don't think that's like intellectually honest, right? I don't watch Pat McAfee's show. It's not for me. I don't find his show informative or entertaining. It's not my style, okay? I don't consume any of Pat McAfee's content. I don't turn on ESPN Game Day on Saturday mornings to watch Pat McAfee. But I can't knock his hustle and his business acumen and what he's done for himself. The motherfucker was a punter. He wasn't a quarterback. He wasn't a superstar player. He was a punter. And now he is one of the biggest stars in sports media and a fucking gazillionaire who has made the right step and career move every step of the way. And I'm not looking right now because it's a distraction to me. I guarantee you in our chat, there's people disputing what I'm saying. Oh, fuck Pat McAfee. Bruh. Because people can never just give credit to something they don't like. His hustle is undeniable.
Oh, yeah. No, and also his public image turned around, too, because this is a guy who had, obviously a drinking issue, got DUIs. Like, that played a big part in why he was no longer in the NFL either. And he has parlayed that now here in 2025 to being, like you said, one of the most important and I don't know if respected is the right word, but definitely one of the most well-known sports media entities, in multiple different fields too.
Now his ego is paper thin. You hear wild stories about this guy where, he doesn't want to be shown as weak in any circumstance. What was the thing about a couple months ago where he got mad because ESPN showed on the air like him missing a field goal or something in one of those pregame challenges, and he got mad at that. He's like, I don't want to be seen missing a field. Like he's very thin-skinned, and behind the scenes he's said to be very, but look, I can't knock the guy's hustle. And I think Stephen A. Smith is a great example too. I mean, the guy's actually a blowhard. He's boisterous. He's all these things. But his work ethic is that guy never stops working.
He's on General Hospital, Joe.
He's on General Hospital.
Why is Stephen A. Smith go home? Why are you on General Hospital too?
He does First Take every day. He's a guest star, a recurring guest star on General Hospital. He now has a radio show on Mad Dog Radio on Sirius, because those two guys are buddies. He got Mad Dog on ESPN and totally changed that guy's career that late in the game, where he's like a national sports celebrity now. So now he's got a show on Mad Dog's channel. He now has a politics show on Sirius on the POTUS channel. Did you know that?
I didn't know that, no.
Where does he have the fucking time?
I have no idea. And then sometimes I'll listen to NBA radio on my commute to work, and he'll jump on with like Frank Isola and Brian Scalabrine, and they'll be like, we're going to go to the line. It's Stephen A. Smith. I'm like, what? You got to let the guy sleep. And he's like, and he'll talk for 45 minutes with those guys and shoot the shit with them for 45 minutes. I'm like, you're about to do 11 straight hours of TV and radio after this. Like, what are you doing? Take a minute for yourself, for God's sakes.
I think he makes like $30 or $40 million for First Take alone per year. I wouldn't have any other job. Why does he have 5 other jobs?
I'd be floating in a pool the rest of the day.
And now he wants to get into politics. He's got a political talk show, and he's talking about running for office. What the fuck is wrong with you? Bro, you're like pushing 60. Enjoy your money.
It's wild.
Go home and dive into your pool of fucking money like Scrooge McDuck. I can't understand these people, but I can't knock the hustle. I don't consume any of his content except First Take when Mad Dog's on because I love Mad Dog, but I can't knock the hustle. So yeah, so they bring McAfee out. Kind of got off track there, and then the opening match is Brock Lesnar and John Cena, and. Look, this was not even what people made it out to be. We were kind of live on the air when this was happening, doing instant reaction live and following the Twitter meltdowns. And look, the one thing the hardcore WWE fan base doesn't eat up with a fucking spoon is Brock Lesnar. They never like his matches. They don't like that he ever comes back, even before the Janelle Grant
and it has
stuff.
nothing to do with the Janelle Grant stuff. It's always that they think he's a bad wrestler and he doesn't lose and all that sort of stuff.
Right, and they don't like his style of match. That's like the one guy who the vocal part of, because he gets cheered in the arena, but the vocal part of their online fan base has never liked Brock Lesnar. So he and I was under the impression that this was another Brock 90-second squash, which I would have been fine with. But then when I actually see the match, Cena made a big comeback, and Cena got a little bit of offense here. This wasn't just Suplex City, bitch. And a 2-minute win. And I thought this was really awesome stuff because then Brock cut off the comeback and, he hit the F5s or whatever and he won the match. And to me, this was just like peak pro wrestling. There were children crying in the crowd wearing their Cena t-shirts and their wristbands and their Cena headbands. And there were parents comforting their children. And this was like peak pro wrestling because It's like you don't always give the fans what they want. And they thought they were going to get a John Cena party. And what did they get? They got Brock Lesnar destroying John Cena.
He came out with kids too. That was the other. He came out with just a gaggle of children, and they're all like, "Yeah!" And it's like the last time is now. Yeah, and everyone's got their little Cena gear on, their little Indiana Pacers themed John Cena shirts, and then Brock, who, as you mentioned, looking good, effort guy, Brock Lesnar.
My God, the shape he was in. I mean, the shape that he was in was ridiculous.
Was such good shape.
And it's like, look, this was to me the best Cena performance since he's come back. His selling here was phenomenal.
He took every bump in a big way too. That's
a big way.
When we previewed the show, I was like, there is no way that Cena's going to take a bunch of F5s and a bunch of belly-to-back suplexes or whatever. Fuck me. He took a bunch of belly-to-back suplexes and a bunch of F5s. He got killed.
And he doesn't have to do that.
No.
He can do whatever he wants. And it wasn't just in the match. If you saw him leaving the ring, I mean, just the way he was walking up the aisle, I thought Cena was fantastic here. I thought this was peak pro wrestling. You have Brock coming back. You're going to push him. This was the right match, the right finish, and the right match structure. All the way. Because Brock should be presented like this. He should be an indestructible force. What the fuck is the point of using Brock Lesnar if he's going to have a back-and-forth 20-minute match where he sells a bunch? I don't understand people who bury these matches. This is exactly what Brock matches should be. And I'm going to go a step further. There should be more of this guy in pro wrestling. I don't know where we're going to find them, but there should be more Brock Lesnars and more people who look like him and work like him in pro wrestling. And I'm not talking about 5'10" Wardlow, who will never have the fucking aura that Brock has. Okay, I'm not specifically picking on Wardlow, but every company has a couple of guys where it's like, but they don't. I'm begging pro wrestling to find more of this guy and present him like this. It would be better and more entertaining if we find more Brocks. Okay? This was great. And any match where you've got kids crying, because that's pro wrestling. You're trying to manipulate emotion. And maybe John Cena will give Brock his comeuppance at some point during this. I don't know. It's hard to say with the way WWE books, right? And then maybe you get your moment where Cena gets his revenge. But on this night, with Brock's return, the story should have been Brock Lesnar destroying anybody that got in that ring with him. So from a pro wrestling standpoint, I know people think we're doing shtick sometimes with Brock. I am absolutely not doing shtick.
I earnestly enjoy the Brock Lesnar
matches.
This
is great pro wrestling.
Kids, they're cutting to kids sobbing and dads being like, it's all right, in their John Cena shirts. That's it, man. That's the essence of pro wrestling right there, is misery. And it's cheering for this guy and then watching him get decimated. It's booing the guy who's decimating the guy. And that's it. Emotions. Getting those sort of emotions out of people is what it's all about. And even the emotions of people getting mad that Brock, beat John Cena as bad as he did. That's kind of the game, right? Like that's kind of the 4D chess part of the game is to, to do a match like that and have everybody have an emotion, whether you're 6 years old or you're 60 years old.
Brock should not sell long-term in a match.
No.
Because then when someone finally beats him, it's going to mean more and it's going to get an enormous pop. Why should Brock work like it? If Brock is going to work like everybody else, why even pay him and bring him back? Why even use him at that point?
And there was a time where they did that. Back when in Brock's first run, if you remember, there was a brief, he came in and was a buzzsaw. And then he, won the title and all that sort of stuff. And then there was a brief period where they were like, well, we should try to make Brock Lesnar, adapt to the WWE main event style. And it was bad and it didn't work. And that's when he lost almost all of his aura. And Brock, smartly enough, was like, this sucks. I'm out of here, and left. And he came back.
Yeah.
He went to UFC. And then obviously from that point forward, once he's come back since then, they've understood, okay, yeah, just have this guy be a buzzsaw. There's no reason ever to have Brock Lesnar do 50-50, 20-minute matches.
If you don't retain his aura, what's the point?
Right. He's worthless.
He's like the ultimate final boss. Like, he should be the ultimate thing that you have to overcome. And then when you do, it feels special. And there's not enough of that in pro wrestling.
No, one of the examples I always bring up is the Legion of Doom got rehired by WWF in like 1997 or whatever. Yeah. And they at that point decided, well, you're just going to be another tag team. You're just another tag team for us. And it was like, you signed Hawk and Animal, and now you have them going out there and just working 50-50 matches with the Headbangers and the Godwins. Like, what's the fucking point of having Hawk and Animal if that's what you're going to do? And it sucked. It was awful. It was like, Babyface and Peril Hawk half these matches, Phineas I. Godwin, giving it to, and it's like, what is the point of all this? Like, this is so stupid. And the Legion of Doom meant nothing. It was just a complete destruction of what made the Legion of Doom special. Why would you do that?
Yeah.
Accentuate the positives, hide the negatives. Like, for a guy like Brock Lesnar, you don't want him going out there and doing that. And they keep him extremely protected, and for better or for worse. But I don't know. I'll take Brock Lesnar going out there and having fun matches over any of this other shit that they usually do.
The thing with modern WWE fans is they don't have any taste. Look at the stuff that they like. Fucking Yeet Man and all this other bull. They don't have any fucking taste. These people don't know ball. That's part of the problem. And I'm going to skip a match and go right to Stephanie Vakir versus Io Sky, and we'll come back to the tag team match because I kind of want to tie it into this point. I think the reason that Stephanie Vakir and Io Sky is getting all this praise for being such a great match is because to that fan base, that is their idea of a great match. Because WWE fans don't see a lot of great matches. They get a whole lot of shows that are a C in a letter grade from Levesque, and they don't get a whole lot of great. So when you have a match like Stephanie Vakir and Io Sky, which the first half of my notes of which, and I'll read them verbatim, say, dull, crowd is dead, Vakir is a step slow, it's starting to pick up a little, slowed down again. And then after that, it's all good comments because that's when they had the good closing stretch.
Yeah.
But those are like that's my running thoughts as I'm taking my notes. The match was dull and the crowd wasn't into it. Nothing was happening. And I thought Vakir was it was like a step slow in the match. And then they had a good closing stretch. And the WWE fans are going crazy for this. And it's like, because they don't get a lot of great wrestling. So to them, this is their idea of a great match. And that's why Io Sky was getting all of this Wrestler of the Year talk. That has really started to subside as the year has moved along.
Yeah.
And if your choice is anyone other than Mystico, you just don't know what the fuck you're talking about. But, it's like because she goes out there and has matches that would be the 5th best match on an AEW pay-per-view or something, but they're the likes of what they're the best matches WWE fans see.
Well, you always say if you give them a crumb of actual good wrestling, they lose their fucking minds.
Oh my God. If you even fart anything resembling good wrestling, these people will chase the scent all the way up your asshole. They don't even realize that they love good wrestling because whenever they get a taste of it, it's like a vampire smelling blood. That's how this fan base has always been because they get so little of anything that has any substance or is any good because they're constantly fed moments and all this other bullshit. So when they get actual quality pro wrestling, they fucking eat it up because good pro wrestling is great. We all know that because we like this shit. So, Vakir and Io Sky was a good match. It was the best match on the show. But it's been severely overrated everywhere that I looked, I guess, except Hale. Didn't he give that match a C too, in addition to the whole card? I might be wrong about that.
I forget what grade he gave that, but let me double check here real quick.
I don't know if he gave each match a letter grade, but I saw people criticizing him for that match. Maybe they were just criticizing it, saying with a match like that, you can't give the card a C, which is, again, utter nonsense.
I gave it a B+. A B+.
Oh, okay. All right, that's fine. I think that's fair.
That's a pretty fair rating.
I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with that. It was a B+ match. It wasn't anywhere close to like an A+. It wasn't like a 5-star A+ match or anything like that. But I think that's what it is. I just don't think their fan base gets a lot of good wrestling. So when they get a fucking ladder match, they think it's the greatest thing they've ever seen because bunch of people fall through tables. When they get half of a good match like they got here, they think it's the greatest thing they've ever seen. But it's like there was an AEW show earlier in the day where this would have been the 4th or 5th best match at best.
Yeah, I got nothing more on this one if you want to move on.
Oh, okay. All right. I was giving you the floor, but
that's you kind of said it all. Yeah, I thought it. I mentioned it at the top. I thought it was a very boring beginning and a pretty okay middle, and then a pretty good end. And Vakir getting the win was it was. I was a little bit surprised by it, but it's good. It's a good spot for her. She definitely made the right move. This is one of those people that I still see people being like, oh yeah, she should have went to AEW. I'll be honest, this was probably the best move for her. I mean, there's no way she would be the AEW Women's World Champion at this point right now. I mean, they have, WWE has done a very good job, and she has done a very good job of understanding what gets over in that company and how to get over in that company, and the company's rewarded her as well. So it's no doubt in my mind that she made the right move.
There was a risk that they wouldn't push her, but they did push her.
Right.
That's the bottom line. And I think that's what you're saying.
Right. Compare her to Julia. Julia is somebody who maybe should have thought a little bit better about where she went or had done, or maybe Julia hasn't been doing the right things. Jordan Grace. Yeah. Who has got no buzz anymore. I mean, Vakir took that risk that she was going to go there and get pushed, and they've pushed her. Yeah, and she's been pushed, and she's a big deal now in that company. So yeah, she definitely made the right move.
And I think she's, for the most part, been really, really good too.
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't love her work in CMLL. I used to say that all the time. So she's someone who I think is better as she has moved along in her career and has gotten, sometimes you go to WWE, you regress a little bit. So I say when people move around, it's interesting because you never know what you're going to get. I think she's been a better wrestler here than she's ever been at any other stage in her career.
So it's interesting there because you said that where'd you say she worked? CMLL?
Stephanie Vakir.
Yeah.
She was the tag team champion, all that shit.
Because I was watching this match, and Michael Cole said
she was there for years.
Io Sky and Stephanie Vakir.
Oh, you're making a point being silly. Okay.
They both cut their teeth working in Japan. Io Sky as the multiple-time Wonder of Stardom champion, and Stephanie Vakir, the former Strong Women's champion. She beats Julia for
Did he really say that?
Yeah.
He completely ignored her fucking half-decade CMLL run.
He also just kind of made up how important she was in Japan. I mean, Stephanie Vakir did a little bit of ice ribbon. She did 2 Stardom matches ever. It's I don't think Stephanie Vakir cut her teeth in Japan. I don't know who wrote that note for you, Michael, or if he was just going into business for himself, but I don't think anybody would say that Stephanie Vakir cut her teeth in Japan. I believe she cut her teeth in CMLL. Is where she would probably have done that.
Cut her teeth. She had a full-on fucking career there.
Right. It's
so they're playing that game. All right, well, you expect it.
And he said she's the Strong, not New Japan Strong, just the Strong Women's Champion.
Oh, okay.
Former Strong. We don't know what the promotion Strong is, but
well, I guess we're going back to that.
Yeah.
They stopped doing that kind of shit for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, circling back, the tag match. Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed over the Usos with LA Knight as the ref. This was egregiously long. This says 17 minutes. If you told me this was 37 minutes, I would have believed you. I would believe you if you said that.
Yeah. With every special referee trope ever.
Yeah.
Guy bumps in LA Knight, goes, hey, I'm the ref. I'm the ref. Got to respect me. You know what I mean?
Right.
And because the idea here is that LA Knight doesn't like either team.
Right.
So he's going to call it down the middle, Sid Justice style in 1992, complete with the sleeveless shirt here. But this was the Usos, man. The whole thing with I don't get it. They come out and everybody goes nuts. Ding, ding, ding. And then nothing. Nothing. The crowd does not care about anything. Once they hit that ring, nothing. It's remarkable. I've never seen anything like it. Somebody that's so over as an entrance, and the second that bell rings, it's just all right, we're good. We're good. We're done. We don't even care if he wins or loses. We don't care if he's going for a hot tag, if he's the guy receiving a hot tag, if he's the one playing Ricky Morton. We don't care about anything because we've done our yeet and we're good. I've never seen that before. I've never seen someone who is, we always say that term, he's nothing but an entrance or whatever.
This is the epitome.
This is the epitome. At least people cared if Sandman was winning a match or whatever. If he was going to hit somebody with a cane or something like that. But this is he is just an entrance. And once that bell rings, everybody sits down and they're like, all right, we're good.
Because he's no good. And listen, Big Jim's no good either.
Big Jim.
So big Jim's no good either.
So Jay, the reason this is a memorable match is nothing that happened really between the bells. Jey Uso found a way to concuss himself delivering a chair shot to a person's back. And there's going to be people that are listening to this that have not watched this match and are not going to watch it. I don't know how to tell you how this happened, but Jey Uso is so bad at wrestling. He was delivering a chair shot to someone's back and concussed himself and busted himself wide open.
Yeah, and is in concussion protocol, I think, still.
By the way, Joe, not to do but if somebody in AEW got a concussion and then took a spear, multiple spears after that concussion, would we ever hear the end of it?
Never hear the end of it. And all of these sites we complained about earlier would be pushing the articles and the quotes and everything, of course.
Because Jay got a very visible concussion, a very obvious concussion immediately upon delivering a chair shot and then somehow concussing himself and busting himself open, then proceeded to take multiple spears through the rest of the match. And then once the match was over, rolled him out of the ring, and he could barely walk in his own power. And like you said, is now in concussion protocol.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, look, I watched the clip 100 times, and I still don't see where the chair hit him in the face. It's so confusing to me. I've seen the slowed down version of it. I just don't see where he hit him. But I'm not saying he didn't hit himself because he clearly hit himself.
Because he clearly did, yeah.
I still don't understand the clip. I just have to take people's word for it that he hit himself with the chair and fucking brained himself off the ricochet of Bronson Reed's back. Look, I thought Braun Breaker was the clear highlight of this match. And I thought that he was pretty dynamic. And I think that it was too much too soon with him. But sometimes you have to push someone a little too hard. I'm talking all the way back to NXT, where it was very clear that he had a presence and an aura about him and an upside. But then the bell would ring and it would all evaporate because he didn't have confidence, because he didn't have experience. And we talked about that a million times. I think now that he has some experience and now that he has some confidence and now that he has Paul Heyman in his ear, both on screen and off, you're seeing it all come together. And he just jumps off the fucking screen whenever he's on it. So the Braun Breaker thing is working. And I think that he has a real chance to be a real star. And in a match like this with, Big Jim and Yeet Man, who are just total non-entities between the bells, and Bronson Reed, who's a guy, I think that Braun just totally shined in everything that he did. So that was really my one big takeaway and the crux of my notes, that Braun Breaker was the clear highlight of the match. In a match that, like you noted, very WWE style with the ref and everything, that just wasn't my cup of tea.
Yeah, it's just nothing happening at all. We should note, this was the special Aries EMF friendly match too, Joe. I don't know if you...
I don't know, what is that? I don't even know what that means.
So that was that gold. For a brief period of time, they showed a gold card on the post. And yeah, it's to... let me maybe you can ask Rock what this is, but Aries EMF, I'll go to the website so we can figure out the protection from electronic devices. Okay, so this is what it is. You're blocking. It's basically like how people were scared of 5G.
Yeah,
that's what this is. So it was like they put this gold bar on the side. I would turn down this podcast sponsorship, by the way. Well, it depends how much they would pay me, but I would probably turn down this podcast sponsorship if I got an email from some fucking tech dude. It's like, Tom at Aries.com. Like, what's up, bro? Like, we do this like EMF thing. Like, we really love to sponsor your show. Would you guys do it? I'd really have to think about it. But yes, it is it's a gold bar that prevents electromagnetic radiation from entering space. Okay? And what it is here, introducing Aries. What it is, a new standard for creating EMF-safe environments without removing technology. Why does it matter? Modern spaces are filled with invisible EMF interference. This certification ensures a healthier environment if you're an EMF-friendly zone. Who is it for? It's ideal for homes, offices, fitness facilities, hotels, and businesses prioritizing health and well-being. So yes, you protect yourself with this gold bar. You protect yourself from electromagnetic fields. So luckily, the Vision, Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, and the Usos, Jay and Jimmy, were prevented from electromagnetic fields. Unfortunately, Jay Uso still gave himself a concussion.
I just listened to everything you said. And I think I'm a man of, at minimum, average intelligence. I think I'm pretty smart. I think I'm a pretty smart guy, but let's just say.
Yeah.
I mean, I have no fucking clue what you just. I have no idea what any of that means. Do you wear this on your body? Do you put it in your house? What?
I think you just put this gold bar on your house, and then you're like, good. I think they also sell necklaces too, so you can wear it around just in case the electromagnetic fields get you or so. I don't know. I have no earthly idea what this
is. This
was.
like when, remember about 10 years ago, there were these things, these wrist bands you would wear that allegedly would give you more energy throughout the day?
Yes. Yeah, it's similar to those, like the balance bands or whatever. I forget
so it's
exactly.
A similar scam to that, or what it. So this is like a gold thing, and it protects you from all of the weird technology shit that we allegedly have floating around in the air.
Joe, don't take it from me. Take it from Dr. Duncan French, Senior Vice President of the UFC Performance Institute, who says, quote, when I first saw how Aries Tech mitigates the negative effects of EMF on human brain activity, I was blown away. Seeing EEG recordings of brainwaves and how Aries Tech can restore optimal brain function, I was convinced of its health benefits. The science was very impressive indeed.
So this is something you wear on your body, on your orifice.
Guess. Sure.
So, okay. All right. So accepting that I'm never going to understand this, much like I don't understand how doing an AI prompt dries up a river. My next question is, what did that have to, the match was sponsored by? It was
sponsored by them, yes, which is actually the best part. So if you really read into it, it's like, okay, the idea here is that these disgusting electromagnetic waves are ruining people's brain functions or whatever, and it's killing us. It's destroying our brains, destroying our bodies, all this sort of stuff. So for one match, and one match only, you're going to put, because they sponsored this one match, we're going to put the gold bar up for this one match, and we're going to say, hey, the gold bar is up, and it prevents these men in the ring from getting electromagnetic waves. But these assholes did not pay for Brock Lesnar and John Cena or AJ, so that gold bar is off. And all the electromagnetic waves are all just infiltrating the ring for every other match. But this one, we are going to put the things up here to prevent the waves for this one and only match. So they did not sponsor the show; they sponsored this match.
So was someone using the product during the match?
No, they put them on the ring posts, and then Michael Cole had to do an ad read for.
They had them on there.
They zoomed in on them. They zoomed in on the gold bars or the gold cards and said, "This match is sponsored by Aries, EMF friendly technology, preventing electromagnetic waves from entering the ring here, and providing an EMF friendly environment for the superstars in this next match."
So. Would the guy in the mall who sells the $60 drones also sell this?
No, I don't think so.
It's a little higher class.
I think it's higher class. Yeah, I think it's higher class.
You know the guy in the mall who flies the drone around the mall?
Yeah.
It's like a $60 drone.
No, he'll talk to you about them.
Yeah.
He doesn't sell them, but he's like, oh, man, you better get one of those because, like, these drones and our phones, man, they're, like, causing a lot of stuff,
And his little kiosk has 500 boxes of the $60 drones because nobody buys them.
Right.
And then
buzzing around your head as you're.
And he's flying it around, and in November he'll be gone, and it'll be replaced by the summer sausage fucking gimmick.
The calendars. The calendar store.
No, the what you would call it, the Hickory Farms.
Oh, right.
The Hickory Farms takes over the kiosk in November, so you can get your summer sausage that you're saving for New Year's Eve, and then you bust it out on New Year's Eve, and you're like, this doesn't even taste good. Why did I save this for anything? I'm just going to – and you can't even dip it in the mustard because the mustard container is so small because it's like a sample that you have to cut the summer sausage in half just to dip it in the shitty mustard that they give you. The mustard doesn't even taste good. It's like shitty mustard. But
the whole thing's
sausage,
awful, and you could do better, and you could do better.
Yeah, and you could do better. And the crackers are stale. You open up first of all, there's 3 crackers in the package. And you open it up and the crackers are stale. And the cheese is like not cheese, it's processed cheese food, right? Which is different than cheese. And you realize, like, hold on a second. Summer sausage doesn't even taste good. And every year I go through the same thing because one of my aunts gives me the fucking Hickory Farms package. And I'm like, oh, this is great. I'm going to eat this summer sausage. And then you taste it. You don't like it. And it's greasy and it's slimy. And then you're like, hold on a second. I probably shouldn't trust this sausage that doesn't require refrigerating.
Yeah, why does it not have to? Yeah, how processed is this if it's never?
Yes.
I think we did this bit like a month ago or 2 months ago. But anyway.
Did we?
I think so. Sounds familiar to me.
The mall kiosk guy with the drones reminded me of the Hickory Farms kiosk.
Yes, yeah,
it's like all the same guy.
Yeah, I don't think he would sell this. No, he would talk about it. He would when you're not buying his drone and discussing drones with him and other drone technology. As he takes a hit of his vape, he'll be like, man, there's all these electromagnetic waves and stuff. They sell this thing. Well, and it's on the back of his phone. He got on the back of his phone too.
Oh, on the phone too.
Yeah, because you could also put it on the back of your phone because then it, your phone signal isn't corrupting your brain.
Well, I'm gonna go get one of these.
Yeah, you should. You should.
I'm gonna get a $60 drone, and I'm gonna get a Hickory Farms summer sausage package, and I'm gonna get a Joe Hendry WrestleMania plaque, all from the same guy at the mall. and my airbrushed RIP Gone Too Soon Biggie Smalls T-shirt. I'm gonna get all of those items from the same guy at the same mall kiosk.
And a Los Angeles Kings pennant for some reason with all the, you know what I mean?
Right.
All their Stanley Cups listed for some reason.
The Los Angeles Kings, of course, because why not the Los Angeles Kings?
Because you're like, I don't know. It looks cool, I guess. That's fine.
And somebody's painting that vaguely looks like the cast from Goodfellas. Right. That too. Don't forget that. Right. the Joe Pesci kind of looks right, right? But the Henry Hill, there's just something a little off.
It's not right. It's not perfect.
Yeah. You can get all those items at the same kiosk in the mall. So I had no idea of this EMF thing.
As Bill says, grab an Orange Julius on the way out too.
Yeah, I mean, not at the same. Now that you got to go to the Orange Julius for that.
Yeah, of
course.
You
can't get that from the same.
Yeah, you got to go to the food court with the Annie Ann's and the Orange Julius
And he's always either Eastern European, right, with the Eastern European accent, like he's from Bulgaria or something, the guy that runs that kiosk. Or he's like a 23-year-old hyperactive fucking white guy, and you're like, this is what you do?
Right. How many of these do you sell? How much do you make? Yeah.
Like it's one or the other. It's always like one of those two things. And it's the same guy that works at like the bootleg iPhone accessory kiosk.
Yeah, they're always by me, they're always like Iranian dude. They're always like these 23-year-old Iranian kids that are doing it, and they have they're always wearing sunglasses inside or whatever. It's quite the vibe. And I'm always like, all right, yeah, good for you, man. So,
it's and sometimes they're aggressive. The cell phone accessory. I'm like, no, I don't want a cell phone cover of Pikachu. I'm gonna pass on that. I don't need the Pikachu cell phone cover.
As he takes a big sip out of his 42-ounce Panda Express that he ate for lunch.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah,
because there's only three things left in the food court, so that's what he has to eat every single day. So he just gets orange chicken and lo mein every single day.
Yeah. He alternates between that and like the Philly cheesesteak fucking place and the really bad pizza. We got one in our mall called Roman Delight Pizza.
Oh God, it's horrible.
Oh my God, it's horrible. Like Roman Delight Pizza. They overtop to the point where it doesn't even cook all the way. So when you bite into it, there's unmelted cheese in the. You know what I'm talking about?
No,
with the Cisco toppings. So like the sausage is just those meatballs and the cheese.
Just the rubber pepperoni that just never bakes. That pepperoni never turns brown. You could cook the fuck out of it. It's never going to turn brown. It's always going to stay red and circular with a little puddle of grease on the edge.
Yeah. And the cheese is like unmelted underneath the initial layer of cheese, and it's cold when you bite it. Even though they throw it in that oven for like 45 seconds before they put it on your paper plate. Man. All right, so we have to move on. Mixed tag team action. AJ Lee making her return after what? 10 years,
a
I
decade,
think it was.
A decade, I believe, yeah.
So she comes back and teams with Punk against Division. I saw the angle they did on whatever, SmackDown. Maybe it was Raw. Please don't correct me. I don't care enough. Man, it was bad. Did you see the thing where, like, Seth was basically saying to Becky after he got slapped by AJ Lee, he's like, I would never hit a woman, but I know someone who would, right? And then that was like Becky's cue.
Yeah.
But she's scared of AJ Lee for some reason.
Why is she scared? Even in the match itself, I could not understand why Becky Lynch was scared of AJ Lee at all.
She's scared of this 70-pound
You're taller than her. You're bigger than her. And you're a regular, everyday wrestler and one of the most accomplished wrestlers in WWE history. Why are you scared of a 70-pound woman who hasn't wrestled in 10 years?
She's scared of basically Riho that listens to Paramore. That's what she's scared of. Like, why is she scared of this person?
Riho, yeah.
Yes, exactly. So then they take this awful camera shot from the ring apron under the bottom rope, okay? Looking upwards in between Seth and Becky with the camera pointed at Punk and AJ with their heads together pointing and laughing at Becky. Like they clearly told these people to pose this way for the shot. And it just exemplifies the total inorganic fucking community theater bullshit that is WWE. It really just hammered home how much I hate that fucking company. That shot from SmackDown or Raw or whatever fucking show it was, which was the go-home angle for this match. And I hated it so much that I took a picture of it and posted it into Discord. And it was like, what the fuck is this garbage? Okay. Then we get to the match at the pay-per-view. And you know what this match was? This is the best way I could describe this match. And not everybody's going to get this. Some people of a certain age aren't going to get it. I'm hoping, Rich Craich, that you get it. Do you remember when in the 80s, when WWF would air house shows from Philly Spectrum, MSG, Toronto Maple Leaf Gardens?
Of course. Yeah.
Okay, they would air those house shows, and you would either, if you lived in those markets, you would see those house shows on TV, like if you had MSG Network. If you lived in Philly, you'd see them on Sports Channel Philadelphia or whatever the fuck. And if you lived out of market, you'd get them on the matches on Primetime Wrestling. Most of Primetime Wrestling was those arena matches, right? So what this match reminded me of is when you'd be watching like an MSG show on MSG Network, and it was day 28 of a 31-day consecutive fucking tour with double shots on Saturdays, and everybody's tired, and nobody wants to bump, and Black Jack Lanza just told them, hey, listen, we're going to need 28 minutes out of you tonight. Coco Beware missed his flight. We're 2 guys short. We got to kill some time. You got to give us 30 minutes. Okay? Entrances and post-match not included. I need 30 minutes bell to bell. And you're tired and you're hurting. And you're like, oh, fuck, how am I going to do this? And they'd get in there and they would do the most perfunctory, low-effort, low-bumping match possible to kill those 30 minutes. That's what this match felt like and looked like, where, you know, Punk teasing the tag to AJ and Becky Lynch, you know, running around the ring afraid of AJ, and all of like these bare bones, basic baby's first tag team match spots that they were doing. Nobody taking any bumps. AJ Lee making stupid faces the whole time. Why does AJ Lee make so many stupid faces? Can someone explain that to me?
She's a trailblazer, Joe. You have to show some respect. She's, you know.
Every time they put the camera on her, she's making some stupid face. She's like tilting her head and smiling.
Yeah.
Then she's making like a shocked face. Then she's like that Bobby Knight gif where he's mocking the
making
reporter.
Fun of the reporter. Yeah,
he's making all the stupid faces. That's AJ Lee during this match. And then when she finally tagged in, she was awful. She was the shit.
Oh, she looked, and she was never good. By the way, she was never good. Like, she was good in the fact that like everybody else was horrible and she was like passable. But now you see her and it's like, yeah, she it's 10 years removed too. She was horrific. She couldn't do anything right at all. All the punches looked bad. All the slams looked bad. She tried to do a Hurricane Rana. It looked horrible. And Becky's not exactly the most smooth worker either. So when it was AJ and Becky in there, Becky's usually someone who will rise to the occasion if she's in there with the right person, but is not usually someone who can carry a match. She was not able to carry AJ Lee here. This was a mess. And when you say this hot tag was excruciating, and the fans didn't care either, by the way. The fans, like, there was a let's go AJ, or we want AJ chant like in the first 5 minutes of the CM Punk's going to sell and do the hot tag to AJ. But then in minute
5 minutes.
No, I'm saying the first 5 minutes. No, Joe. And then they went like 11 more minutes. And then people are just like, all right, we're good. Like, let's do something. Like, they decided that, hey, okay, look, we cannot put AJ in this match for very long. So we're going to have 17 minutes of this match be CM Punk writhing on the ground, reaching for AJ. And then for by some hook or by some crook, the vision of Becky and they're going to find a way to pull AJ off the ring, or they're going to cut the ring off and he's not going to be able to get there. And it was excruciating. And these fans decided, okay, we cared for 8 minutes. We cared for 12 minutes. We don't care anymore for 18 minutes. And they did that. This match was dead to this audience. Anybody that tells you this is a hot crowd for this match is lying. This crowd did not give a fuck about this match anymore. And they had, I mean, goddamn, the ups and the downs of this match. They just kept going and going and going and going. And it's like, you know, you brought it up perfectly. Sometimes I'll do these Tour of the Territories shows, flagshippatreon.com, and I'll look at WWF house shows. And you'll look at some random Philly Spectrum show, and it's like Swede Hansen versus Sal Bellomo, 30 minutes and 18 seconds. And you're like, oh, God, what did that look like? Like, God, like, that was the semi-main event. These people went to this building for the semi-main event in the Philly Spectrum, and it was Swede Hansen and Sal Bellomo for 30 minutes and 18 seconds. Like, what? Oh, that sounds horrible. That's what this match was.
It was worked with really just very basic 80s style spots, and like they didn't want to work particularly hard. You had Becky and Seth as just like these cowardly heel caricatures, right? And it just, I don't know. It was just the antithesis of anything I want. Then AJ Lee is getting the "You Still Got It" chant. She's like touching her heart and fluttering her eyes and making her faces, and it's like, can you just fucking wrestle, please?
Stop being. She's crazy, Joe. So you gotta make sure she's crazy.
I don't think she does that gimmick anymore, though. That's the thing.
I think she's still the crazy hot girl. That's still her gimmick. I'm sure it's got to be. I
don't know. I
think
the
her Daisy Dukes and the half shirt, and no, it's got to be.
Well, it's the same look and everything, but I don't think she's still doing that gimmick. I mean, her gimmick here was just she was CM Punk's wife.
Coming back
to help him kick some ass.
Joe, Phil is AJ Lee's husband. Come on. He's a good guy.
Said it on his jacket.
He's an ally, Joe. Yeah. Come on.
Yeah, but I don't know. Look, I never thought much of AJ Lee when she was active, and I didn't think she was good here. And what's crazy is the next day in the aftermath was just all of the PR bullshit of how great she looked in her return. And I'm like, what did they watch?
Not this match. It must have.
She looked like someone whose time passed her by because women's wrestling is so much better now, is what she looked like.
Yes.
You know, she may have been.
She followed Stephanie Vakir and Io Sky, which may as well have been, right. you know, insert whatever great match. It might as well Misawa Kobashi compared to what AJ. I mean, no, it's absolutely correct. You see what modern women's wrestling looks like now, and it's Stephanie Vakir and Io Sky. It's like high level work that is as good, if not better, than the men in a lot of ways. And then there's AJ Lee, who's a relic of the Divas era, and people pretended was good because.
Well,
Michelle
may have been good
McCool
compared
sucked.
to
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like,
right. Well, I mean, they thought Michelle McCool was good.
I know, but this is the thing. This is the thing about that era is 26 different women were trailblazers and totally changed the game for women's wrestling. And I'm fucking sick of it. We can't let Beth Phoenix, Natalya, Michelle McCool, Layla, Gail Kim, AJ Lee, like the list goes. We can't let all of them be trailblazers that changed women's wrestling forever by being good when everybody else was bad. If they were all great and they were all trailblazers, then what?
And who were the bad ones?
Yeah, who were the bad ones then? Right?
Just Tori Wilson?
Right, just Tori and Stacy were the only bad ones.
Tori was bad.
Mickey James, I forgot about Mickey James was a trailblazer. Trish Stratus was a trailblazer. Lita was a trailblazer. It's like, well, hold on a minute. Right. If all these women are trailblazers,
some of them were pretty. Bellas, some of the ones you named,
Nikki and Brie were trailblazers. It's like, stop.
Right.
Paige.
There's a lot of
Paige was a trailblazer. Really?
A lot of trails
Emma.
being blazed.
Remember when Emma was a trailblazer.
Emma.
Paige and Emma. Those matches were great. Oh my
bubble
god.
dance.
Yeah.
A lot of trails being blazed.
How thick is this trail? How much blazing does this trail need to be?
How many trails is there? Which one are we on now? And then it wasn't until the 4 Horsewomen that the trail was really blazed.
Now the trail's very blazed by the 4 Horsemen.
Right.
Well, which is it? Is it these 97 women blaze the trail, or did these 4 women blaze the trail? It can't be all of it. But for women's wrestling, it's all of it. It's for WWE fans and hardcore women's wrestling, it's all of them. It's everybody, all these 97 people all changed the game for women's wrestling.
Alicia Fox was a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was
Victoria.
her. She had a bag. Alicia Fox had a bag.
She was her. Victoria, Jacqueline. You go right down the line. You're right. All of them are trailblazers. Every one of them. Barbara Bush. All right, let's pump the brakes.
Okay, BB. Nurse BB was not
Pump
a
the brakes. Yeah. Pump the brakes. Yeah. So you have to have a bad one or two. So there's one. So you have, in order to be a trailblazer, someone had to stink. So maybe it was Barbara Bush. All right. So yeah, I hated it. I just hated everything about this.
This match stunk. The best part about this match, and I love this, even the WWE fans, the people that paid are withholding a mortgage payment this week or this month to make sure that they go to WWE Wrestle Palooza. AJ did this spot where I want to say, was it Punk had Seth? I forget. I don't even remember what the spot was, but AJ had to jump from one table to the other table to knock over Seth so that they could go through a table or whatever.
Well, she cleared off the Spanish announce table and made a bunch of faces before she did it.
Yeah.
And they did dueling table spots because Punk was on the other table.
That's right. Okay. So she went to, I think she took Seth out or something like that, whatever it was. She jumps, she misses, she lands on the table. The table doesn't immediately break, and clearly they trigger the, okay, let the table break thing, because then it breaks right in the middle. It looked awful, and these poor fans, they look around, and 3 of them are like, we got to do it. So you get 3. Holy shit. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Holy, and then they just stop, and they're like, yeah, we can't even. Even this crowd, that holy shit's everything was like, nah, we even that, we can't even do.
I saw somebody do before the match, because we had to get all hyped up for this. Somebody did the top 10 AJ Lee matches. And I was like, I can't.
What?
And I thought to myself before I clicked, I'm like, I can't think of 10 AJ Lee matches.
One.
I can't think of 10 AJ Lee matches. Like, what are we doing? But that was, look, they successfully built up hype for someone who really wasn't that big a deal in real time. I mean, they did it. And, and then in the aftermath, you had everybody talking about how great she looked. She didn't miss a beat.
All right.
I mean, okay. I mean, your definition of great is different than my definition of great. I thought she was perfectly acceptable for someone who hadn't wrestled for 10 years. That's what I thought.
There was one great moment, too, that I want to point out, and then we can move on, is Seth had Punk down or something like that, and Becky was selling after an AJ Lee attack that she recently had or whatever. And Seth is pointing at Becky. You may remember this too. And he said, "Come on, Becky, get up. They're all here for us. This whole building's filled because of us."
Yeah.
I was like, who likes these? I mean, is this what people think? Like, is
storytelling?
Does anybody really like? Do we think this is good heel work from these two? Just buffoons?
WWE fans do. Yeah.
Do they really? Okay.
Yeah, this is storytelling, Rich.
Right.
This is storytelling.
All right.
Yeah. Come on, man.
Bad.
Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre. We set this up by saying Cody's having just a total nondescript title reign to the point that we omitted John Cena's title reign.
We forgot that he lost the title and won it back. Yeah.
Now, see, I thought when you talked last week, I was thinking to myself, Cena won the title in there, but I thought you were making a larger picture point that everything Cody has done since he won the title, like both reigns.
Yeah, I was combining both reigns, basically. I was combining both reigns.
Yeah.
I did forget that John Cena did hold the title for a little bit.
So you did forget.
I did forget because I was like, well, Cody hasn't defended the title in 4 months. I forgot that He didn't have the title for those 4 months. But no, I was making a larger big picture point.
I thought you were making an overarching point.
No, the guy's had the title for the most part of for other than 4 months, he's had it for 2 years and has had pretty much a nondescript nothing happening, run as champion.
Yeah, and I didn't want to step on you, so I just left it alone because the overarching point was what mattered. But man, was that a perfect setup for this nothing world title match. Holy shit, was this a nothing match. My God. I don't even remember much about it. I'm looking at my notes.
Oh, you'll never. I watched this an hour ago and I won't, or 2 hours ago, and I will never remember a single. All I remember,
nothing match.
All I remember is it was so bad that they had to make up a story, or I guess maybe this was the story of the match. I don't even know. That Cody is had a concussion or was suffering from something because they're like, Cody doesn't look to be himself today because he's really not. He didn't get all of that because he kept not getting all of it for a lot of the moves. So they kept saying, Punk does, or Cody doesn't look like he's all the way together. He must still be feeling the effects of ring rust and the attack. And I was just like, is this the story or is the match just bad and we're pretending that's what the story is? I couldn't tell.
It was the story, but I just thought it was just two professional wrestlers who were pretty good at their job just having an average match that I'll never remember 1 second of.
There is not one memorable spot from this entire match that you'll ever think of.
No one took Drew seriously as a challenger here, and we all knew this show was put together late in the game, and this match was put together late, and Cody's just extremely average title reign continues on. It just soldiers on, and I don't know. I don't have anything else to say about this. This is a 3-star gentleman's 3. Gentleman's 3 is like the definition of a gentleman's 3. And a gentleman's 3 is different than a 3. If you know, you know. Can't be explained. You either get it or you don't. This was a gentleman's 3. Coined by Mike Spears, of course. But that's exactly what this was. So, it's the match I have the least amount of thoughts of on what was absolutely a C show. Mm-hmm. This was a C. Like most WWE pay-per-views, they're never great shows. When's the last time they had a great show?
And they're always paced like shit. I was curious if this ESPN thing was going to be, they're going to change the way they do anything, and they changed nothing. It was the exact same experience as watching it on Peacock. It's a very long opening, a bunch of people walking through hallways, the announcers explain what you're going to see on the show, long ass entrances, long ass introductions, and then boring matches, and then commercial breaks. And that's exactly what it was. And it was 5 matches. It took 3 hours. Nothing was good. Nothing was really, Brock Lesnar and Cena was good. And otherwise, the rest of it was just like, you're just kind of like bored to tears during a lot of it. It's just that's kind of, I was curious if they were going to change any, and they changed nothing about the presentation of their shows. And I don't get it. I really, earnestly, truly do not get it. I watch these shows and I'm done and I'm just like, I do not understand how anybody can watch this show and think, wow, that was a hell of a show. Huh. Wow, Wrestlepalooza. It's quite the belter. I just watched right there. Like, what do you?
Yeah.
What? No,
I don't think anyone did though. Like, it's not getting good reviews anywhere. But I have to say, when they debuted on Netflix with Raw, they made that feel different, big, and special.
Yes.
This didn't feel different, big, or special at all. Outside of bringing Brock Lesnar back, this was just a regular standard issue WWE pay-per-view. A straight C, a 5 out of 10. Pretty boring. Nothing you'll ever, again, to me, Brock's return was the most interesting thing on the show. By far, and I love that match layout. Outside of that, I don't know, man. This was a juiced up not even juiced up. It was just a regular fucking what they always do.
Yeah. It is interesting too that we haven't had any like press releases or any news hits about the viewership either.
Too, yeah. Either because ESPN has bigger fish to fry and they're not concerned with that sort of thing, although they do it for some of their other entities. Mm-hmm. But it could also just tell us where WWE stands in the pecking order over there, to where it's like, are we going to drum up some bullshit stats to put out a press release for this thing? Or are we concerned with, Monday Night Football this week? and the upcoming NBA season.
Right. And a huge college football weekend. So let's promote the new rankings, our CBI rankings or whatever the fuck they call it.
Yeah, stuff that 25 million people are going to watch versus the fucking 1 million people who watch this. It's like that might tell us where they are in the pecking order.
Yeah.
So, and they might not want to reveal how many subscriptions they earned out of this for industry reasons. The streaming world is weird, and maybe they don't want to talk about that or reveal it. So who knows? But yeah, it's curious. Nothing came out, and it's obvious nothing will because we're a week out.
Oh yeah, it's done. Yeah, you're not getting anything anymore. If we didn't get anything,
tells
by
you
Tuesday,
it wasn't anything phenomenal.
Yeah, exactly. If it was something good, or whatever, we'd have press releases out. We would have tweets out there. Huge news. WWE broke all records on ESPN, debuting X amount of. We didn't get any of that.
Yeah. Well, for all the media rights they get and the great ratings that SmackDown does and Raw used to do on cable and everything, I think one thing that Netflix has exposed is they're not quite this massive global brand that they purport to be. They just aren't. They're not some pissant company or anything like that. And they obviously make money hand over fist. But we're in an era where media rights are going to garner that. We've talked about this topic 1,000 times. So I don't know. Yeah, you're right. The fact we haven't heard anything is probably means,
and we are not going to hear anything either.
Yeah.
It is. I just found it interesting. Yeah, that it wasn't really a puffed up debut from ESPN, but there you go. That is Wrestlepalooza. So did you hear if people were having issues signing up? Obviously that was going on during All Out, so I was focused on All Out. I wasn't really following if people were having issues signing up or whatever. But
I didn't see anything of note. I saw some people sharing ways to get it for free, like through Fubo and things like that. Like
or Stephanie McMahon on her podcast.
Yeah, just pirate it. Yeah,
but you might be hearing that same. Us and Stephanie might have the same podcast partners pretty soon, so keep an eye out for that.
Oh, really? We got something cooking? I don't even know about this.
Yeah,
you got a lot of secrets, Rich. You have a lot of secrets.
I don't know if it's actually going to go anywhere.
You have a lot of secrets. First, you're like, oh, fuck this. I'm not watching NXT anymore. And I learned that like 5 minutes before the show. Now you're cutting business deals. You got a lot of secrets, man. You got a lot of secrets.
Not quite business deals yet, but
this is why they used to call you Rich cooking the books crate. I mean, that was a thing.
Still at it.
And you're still at it, clearly.
Anyway, you know what I did not have to pirate? CMLL's 92nd anniversary show, because it was live on Triller. First time live.
I bought it. That's why
you bought it. I watched it on yours, but that's true. Well, it's actually sorry. It was the websites. Triller TV powered by Fight Login. But yeah, it was your credit card. You bought it, but
that's right.
Which I now have too. So you have my HBO and I have your credit card. So it's
see, you have my credit card information. So I made sure to go into the HBO and get your credit card information. So now we're
all right. We're good.
So if you play any games, what do you think was a worse idea? Accidentally sending you all my credit card information, including the security code number, or me writing down all of my credit card information on a napkin and giving it to Gabe Sapolsky in 2013. What do you think was worse?
I think the Gabe Sapolsky one was worse because the napkin, like at least, well, you did text it to me, so it's like Apple now has that, I'm sure, and whatever. But I would say the napkin is a little dubious because that's going to fall out of Gabe's pocket. He's going to use it to wipe up something and toss it in the garbage. So someone might be able to pick it up from there. It might fall out of his pocket. He might use it. Sal might use it. Who knows? Yeah, I don't know. I
don't think I never had like a charge from Home Depot for like 20 folding tables or anything.
Yeah, did they even charge you for the tickets ever? You never got charged, right?
Never charged me for the ticket. No.
That's my favorite story is that he didn't say, no, just go in. He said, hold on a minute. It's a craft.
No, he told the girl, she's like, make him write down his information. Then he walked away. And then I wrote it down. Like, I don't know why I didn't write down fake information.
I better not, give them false information here. Yeah, you didn't just write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or just a random ass credit card. You're like,
bro, I took out my card and dutifully fucking wrote everything down.
Expiration 11/29.
Yeah, and then afterwards, I'm like, what was I thinking? I could have wrote anything down, Why did I give him? Why did I do that on a napkin?
Why did you give WWN Live your credit card information?
And I handed it to some 19-year-old kid working the door. And I'm like, you're gonna make sure Gabe gets it, right? And she's like, yeah. I could have had, I should have checked. I could have had a charge for like 4 cases of Four Loko that night, and I would have obviously known who did it. The fucking 19-year-old girl I handed it to. Or I could have been charged for folding tables for the next 5 years if the wrestlers got a hold of it. But luckily, nobody charged anything. So, and I didn't change it either. Like I should have immediately went home and changed it.
Right, it's such a pain in the ass, though.
And it is because I have all my bills on auto pay, and I'm like, I don't want to go through this. So I'm gonna roll the dice that WWN Live doesn't use my debit card. So. Anyway, at that point in my life, they weren't getting very far anyway, even if they did use the debit card. So,
Can't buy too many folding chairs.
Joke would have been on them. I don't know if they could have pulled off 4 cases of Four Loko, to be honest with you. But, all right. So this Consejo Mundial de Lucha Libre show, the CMLL Rich Cage, which used to be EMLL.
It did, yeah.
Back in the day. So this was the anniversary show. And it had a match of the year candidate near the top, second from the top, with Mystico over MJF, which I talked to you on the Instant Reaction Live and told you, look, it might be a victim of the high bar because I told you that the match was so great that in my eyes, not only, it might be match of the year, but I think to me it wrapped up promotion of the year for CMLL. It wrapped up wrestler of the year for Mystico. And I think it wrapped up feud of the year for Mystico and MJF based on, the money they drew, the match they had here, all those things. And feud of the year is normally very light. You don't think of it as a light category, but it usually is a lot. You start thinking, well, what are the great feuds? You usually can't come up with too many. So fuck it. Give them that one too, right? And I'm like, the match is so great. And I'm sure you saw all the other buzz for how great the match was. And whenever I'm in that situation, the match never lives up. Mm-hmm. I watched the match and then I'm like, it didn't fucking live up. So the question to you is, did the match live up?
I was very worried. Because the expectations were sky high for this thing. And everybody was just raving about this thing. And then I watched it. The very next morning. And I fucking loved it. I thought it was a phenomenal bit of pro wrestling. And I liked it so much. I wrote an article, flagshippatreon.com. By the way, if you want to go read it there, $10 tier again for that. And essentially my thought in that article was, and I'm curious on your thoughts of this match too, was just how simple everything was and how great simplicity in wrestling can be sometimes. Because they didn't reinvent any wheels in this match whatsoever. It was good versus evil, Mexico versus the USA, the god of this arena versus the invader from the other company, whatever way you want to. They did it all. They did all 3 of those. But that's simple stuff. It's just good versus evil. Mystico good, MJF bad. And the match was just fucking brilliant in the way that they did it. And the blood in CMLL and in Arena Mexico. Now I love that Mystico pretended that his head hit the post. And he made sure, I'll give him credit. He made sure his head hit the post to then move over and then rip his mask further and go, oh my God, I'm bleeding. I can't believe it. Now, everybody believes that this is so we should preface this, that Arena Mexico has a blood ban. You're not supposed to bleed in Arena Mexico. They don't want you to bleed. It's a very tourist heavy thing. They want this kind of pure lucha libre sport thing, so you're not supposed to bleed. And a lot of other lucha libre fucking bleed all over the place. We don't care. It's not a problem at all. In Arena Mexico and by proxy CMLL usually has a blood ban. Now, Cubs fan on luchablog.com says that there's no way that anybody didn't know this was going to happen, because usually if something like this would happen, the Megs would come out right away. They'd clean him up. They'd do all this sort of stuff. They didn't do that. They let Mystico sit there and bleed like a stuck pig, and God damn it, did he bleed. And that's another simple thing in pro wrestling too. If you add blood to a match, and you don't always do blood, if you do 5 different blade jobs on one show, it's not going to matter. If you do a blade job every single time you're in a main event, it doesn't matter. But if you keep it rare, when that blood is flowing, it just changes the entire game, because the fans, when they saw that this guy was bleeding, went, oh, whoa, this is a big deal. And then they just proceeded to have a match where MJF is He realizes he can't fly with Mystico. He realizes he can't go on that level, so he's just going to keep him to the ground and make him bleed, and he's going to work the match that way and do whatever he can to just escape and not get caught in that La Mystica and do whatever he can to do it. And they worked. It wasn't a crazy match. They didn't do a bunch of things you've never seen before. It was just simple, good heel babyface work until MJF gets caught in that La Mystica. He tries to reach for the ropes. He doesn't get it. Mystico puts him back in the middle of the ring, locks in even tighter, and MJF taps out, and it's just pure bliss. And this crowd is just going absolutely crazy for the CML World Light Heavyweight title, which they don't really even care about that much.
No, they don't care about that.
But they don't. It's because it's their hero. And he defeated the evil invader from the other company, the evil American, the bad guy, whatever it might be. And that is just the tenets of pro wrestling, the core of what this whole thing is. We talked about how Brock and Cena is like the core of like a great example of true pro wrestling. This match is it. If you want to know what I think that wrestling can and should almost always try to be, it's this match here. It's not reinventing the wheel. It's not overthinking it. It's not doing needing to do a bunch of crazy shit and having guys go through a bunch of tables and ladders and kind of. It's just good versus evil, heel versus babyface, home nation versus other country, which always works, by the way, and has worked for 100 years and will always work in wrestling. Or guy from our company versus guy from another company, which always works and will work for 100 more years. I loved it. I really truly thought that it was going to be a victim of expectations, and it was not. When it was done, I was just like, that is brilliant pro wrestling, and it is absolutely 100% going to be in my top 10 for match of the year. No doubt about it.
Yeah, it was a great match. I don't want to derail because I want to talk about this match, but I'm just catching up on Gail Kim's crash out. Now she's like buddying up with like Jimmy Corderas and the like too. So Gail Kim's completely lost the plot.
You're really Jimmy Corderas?
Oh yeah. Here's a tweet that she sent to Jimmy Corderas today. Honestly, no worries about me, Jimmy. You're the man. I definitely see how AEW tribalistic fans are now. Good to know, so I can rile them up anytime I please. Emoji, 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 clapping emoji, crying face emoji, crying face emoji. So, Gail Kim really exposed herself this week as an absolute dunce, just totally speaking out of school about things she had no clue about, then doubling down. And then after shit was explained to her, instead of just putting out an apology and saying, hey, look, I didn't understand the full context of what I'm talking about. I'm sorry, whatever. No, she's biting back at people and getting nasty with Dave Meltzer, because one of the easiest things to do in pro wrestling today to earn back the support of people or gain favor with the dumbest wrestling fans imaginable is to make Dave Meltzer an enemy. If you make Dave Meltzer an enemy, that gains you a lot of curry and a lot of favor with a lot of people. And now she's completely buddied up to that corner of the fandom, by rubbing elbows with the Jimmy Corderases of the world and everything else. So
great.
Just really, look, I don't even
enjoy your muck. Enjoy your muck, Gail.
I don't want to get too deep into it, but people can look it up for themselves. I mean, she said some pretty stupid things, and she even acknowledges to a degree that she was wrong, but she's doing it in a very nasty and unapologetic way. And she's just she's just going after Dave now, which is the sure sign of desperation when you're getting piled on. Meltzer's idiocy is bringing out my hood side, which very rarely happens. I get feisty, and I don't like to curse directly at people and call them names. If it gets to that point, you deserve it. Like, yeah, okay. Well,
she'll have a Conrad podcast by next week.
Well, Chris Van Vliet has already hit her up. So that'll be. Oh my God, she's gone all the way. Rich, listen to this one. Am I wrong? But isn't it alleged that he gets paid by that company?
Give him the invoice. The voices of give him the Mongo ebooks invoice. Come on, someone's got to send it to Gail.
And also, why the hell does anyone go by his star rating system like it's the standard? Has he ever had a match in his life? Oh, she hit all the boxes.
Gail, he hasn't wrestled is like a 1987 thing. Like, come on.
You can't criticize if you haven't done it.
Right.
And he's paid by AEW. She has totally leaned into the dumbest people on the internet because that's a nice protective shell, when you rally those idiots. So she's gone full stupid. Gail Kim, as this show has been going on, has gone full stupid. Gail Kim, you have gone full stupid. And
all because she saw a clip from a death match
and didn't understand it was for a documentary, and she didn't understand the context. She said something dumb.
Cyclope, not that Cyclope. The other Cyclope, the deathmatch Cyclope, has caused a Gail Kim crash out of epic proportions.
Yeah. And the fact is, even if it hadn't been something that was being done for a documentary, and even if she had, clearly didn't know the context of what she was burying, her criticism was bad anyway, because she said, she went after the whole story. This is not storytelling. Bah. Nobody can look at a 10-second clip of anything and criticize storytelling. How do you know what story they were telling in 10 seconds? You know nothing what happened before the spot. You know nothing that happened after the spot. These ex-pro wrestlers that think they're so fucking smart say the dumbest fucking shit.
Yeah, about the thing that they apparently think that they're very smart about because they've done it before. They've wrestled matches.
Her of all people who's a wrestler should know that you can't take 10 seconds out of any match and determine whether it's good storytelling or not. Because it's 10 fucking seconds of the match.
How many Onita? Imagine watching an Onita match from the peak of his powers, and it's just him like getting hit by with barbed wire and being like, what's the story? There's no story here. It's like, no, you fucking idiot. Like, nobody would ever do that, because we know what an incredible, in-ring and out-of-the-ring storyteller Onita was, and it all led to, kind of junk matches, but whatever. Yeah, you don't know anything. It's what a crash out all time.
Yeah, she said, I actually found out today and listened to a reasonable person about it, asshole. This is to Dave. Keep making your biased assumptions and your star ratings that mean fuck all. So then he responded to her very politely. Now that you understand the backstory on why people were upset, can you at least understand? I defended you as much as possible on my show last night, and he did, by the way.
He did.
And explained that you probably didn't know the backstory. He did that too, by the way. Now that you do, what is your opinion on the years of horrible bullying the Japanese women wrestlers received? This is in regards to her Riho tweets. See, now she should just apologize. And then everyone forgets about this in 2 days. Instead, she's leaning into the worst people and leaning into the anti-Dave thing because that's just an easy way to gain favor with the dumbest people on the internet. And I understand what a Twitter pile-on feels like. I do. And I'm sure she was feeling it for 3 days. And this is the quickest way to dig yourself out of that, because now she's going to gain all of this, artificial support from people who don't like Dave. She's taking the easy way out instead of just apologizing and saying, I didn't get it. Now I do. I'm so sorry. I apologize to the documentary filmmakers, and I apologize to Rio, and hope that nobody should fucking, whatever you need to say. But instead, she's taking this path. And quite honestly, that makes me lose a lot of respect for Gail Kim. For her to just fucking immediately go to, am I wrong, but isn't it alleged that he gets paid by that company?
Yeah, it's just...
I mean, Gail, what are you doing? I mean, that's just, now I have no respect for you. I can't respect her if she said that, because she knows he's not paid by AEW. Okay? I'm sorry Tony's not interested in hiring you. And I'm sorry you think that a 10-second clip, that you think you can determine storytelling in a match by looking at a 10-second clip. Maybe that's because when she worked for WWE, they only gave her 10 seconds to have her matches. Maybe that's the reason. Maybe she thinks 10 seconds is enough, because I rewatched all of Gail Kim's matches a few years ago. Remember that, Rich? I did a project.
I do remember that project.
I rewatched her entire fucking career, and she never got more than 3 minutes in WWE. So maybe she does think 10 seconds is enough to determine whether you're telling a good story or not. I mean, geez. I understand that, you got leveraged out of TNA and Tony won't hire you, but I mean, come on. You're going down a delusional path when you're feeding this bullshit that the man is being paid by AEW. What it means is I can no longer have any respect for her. None. Because, man, is she taking the easy way out of legitimate criticism. Man, if people explain to you the situation, be a fucking adult and come out and say that. Say, all right, I didn't know. Now I know. I'm sorry. And no one would be talking about this anymore.
Or just log off. You could also just log off for a couple days and then come back.
How about this? How about just don't tweet? How about that? How about go be with your fucking husband and go dive in your pile of money and stop tweeting?
By the way, I think it was his birthday yesterday. During this full-blown crash out, it was his birthday.
Yeah. It's like Raj Giri arguing with people while he's at the beach with his family. Like, can we fucking reel it in and be normal at any time? I mean, I didn't know Gail Kim was like this. I didn't know she was an absolute moron.
No, maybe she wasn't,
idea.
but now she is. So,
I mean, I had no idea this was who she was. She's a dope. I mean, she's an absolute fucking dope, Gail Kim. Jimmy Corderas.
Yeah.
He's literally like
he's so bad.
He's such an underrated dumb guy. Like he's the dumbest guy. Like Jimmy Corderas might be the dumbest of them all. Like
yeah, he doesn't get a lot of love because I think he's so consistently dumb that people don't even bother anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's wrong about every wrestling opinion. Or even like wrestling facts. It's like you worked in the business for like 4 decades. Like, how are you so wrong about all this?
Yeah. What a fucking man, Gail Kim. You talk about losing fucking instant credibility in people's eyes. She's making an absolute fucking fool of herself. Anyway, back to the CMLL review. Mystico MJF. Yeah, it's like I said at the top. I think it wraps up a lot of different awards. It was a great fucking match, and the simplicity. I think you're dead on. It's just this asshole American coming down and doing the anti-Mexican thing, and he's got the manager dressed like Uncle Sam, and John Cruz. I mean, he was so good in this match. I mean, he was.
I believe he was an Abe Lincoln. He was an Abraham Lincoln. Here he has in the past been Uncle Sam. I believe he was Abe
Lincoln, Uncle Sam. You know, didn't
they both
get shot in the head? Didn't they both get shot in the head?
I don't know if Uncle Sam technically got shot in the head, but
whatever. The point is,
he even did Sam's a real person. But anyway,
he even did that great bit where he was like, "You can't hit a man wearing a hat."
Yeah,
I forgot that was a thing.
You can't.
I forgot that was a thing. I forgot you can't hit a man wearing a hat was a fucking thing, and he even brought that back. But yeah, MJF bleeding buckets, the simple psychology, but it works. And Mystico's performance cannot be undervalued here. Yeah, because he would hit offensive moves, but then sell the idea that he had these massive losses of blood. I mean, he was doing topes and dives on MJF and then just collapsing under the exhaustion of the beating and the blood loss that he was taking outside the ring. And
he was pretending he couldn't grab the ropes because they were so covered in his blood. And he was so sweaty. So he'd fall off the ropes and be like, oh no, I don't have the energy to get up because I'm bleeding so much. And he was bleeding a lot, for the record. He was bleeding. I mean, that maybe a little bit of shoot there. It was a gusher from Mystico. That was a good blade job out of Mystico. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I saw some hardcore lucha accounts opining whether this was one of the greatest lucha matches of all time. I know that sounds like ridiculously high praise. This is one of the greatest lucha matches I've ever seen. I don't know if I'm prepared to say it's the best I've ever seen, but it's up there. I mean, this was legitimately a great, we've thrown a word around a lot, but this was a great, great match. And Mystico was fantastic. MJF was beyond incredible in his role here and his performance and what he was willing to do physically. And then to hop on a plane and less than 24 hours later, have another bloodbath with Mark Briscoe. And then the promo he cut that they aired on Dynamite this week. This was a bad week to be an MJF hater because this is one of those weeks where he proves what I've been saying all along, that when MJF is at his best, there is no one better. That doesn't mean he's the best, but he's on the same level as anyone in the world when he is at his best. And you can't definitively say that anyone's better than him when he is like a week that he had like this week. I mean, forget it. And he put both of those guys over, right? In the matches that were the blow-offs because he knew he was going away for a while. And he did it with max, no pun intended, max effort, bleeding buckets, halfway across the world, 2 different countries, flying from Mexico to Canada, less than 24 hours in between. And he was just incredible, And I think when it comes to MJF, and we had a long form conversation on the Instant Reaction Live if people want to hear it. But when it comes to MJF, to just sum up some of the things that I've been trying to preach about him lately is I think a lot of people spend too much time focusing on Bad Max and completely disregarding how great he is at his peak. I would rather, emphasize and focus on how great he is like he was this week and then be mad when he's shitty rather than to throw the baby out with the bathwater and just say, oh, he has bad instincts sometimes, so fuck him, he stinks. I think that's a very immature way of looking at things. Because the guy clearly is a great, great generational talent and an incredible pro wrestler who also happens to have really bad instincts sometimes and does some of the worst shit you'll ever see. But man, when he lands, does he land? And again, full credit to Mystico. I don't want to disregard Mystico's performance here because he was just as great.
He was great. The thing with Mystico too, and I want everybody that has listened to this that hasn't watched this match, please, dear God, go out of your way to watch this match. And I want to reiterate, and I do this a lot when people say, oh, that guy got a big pop, or that guy's a star, or that guy's, he's over. Watch Mystico in Arena Mexico, okay?
Yeah.
That's over. That's a star. Those are pops, okay? A couple of people politely clapping for somebody when they come out, or you live at a show in your section and 12 people are chanting for something. That's not over. Fucking Mystico in Arena Mexico is over. That's what a star looks like in professional wrestling. And there's far fewer Mysticos than ever before, and very few people can match what Mystico is doing right now in Arena Mexico. But I just want to reiterate, watch the connection that guy has with that entire arena. From the moment his music hits to the moment he holds the title over his head and wins the match with the blood pouring down and the mask ripped off, that is a dude that's got this crowd in the palm of his hands. And think about that when you're discussing Wrestler X or Wrestler Y or whatever as being a star or over or having a pop or getting a pop or whatever. That is a star. This is what it looks like, is Mystico in Arena Mexico. And again, I don't expect a whole lot of other people to be anywhere on the level that Mystico in Arena Mexico is, but I'm saying we have to have higher standards for what stars in wrestling are and what pops are and what over is. I mean, it has to be seen to be believed. The connection that this guy has and just how invested in every single thing this guy has become in this building and in Arena Mexico. And like you said, I think I think Saya Kamatani is a decent choice for Thez Flair, but at this point, unless something drastically changes in the next couple months, if you're not voting for Mystico, you're
your
lost.
Head examined.
You're lost. You're not watching wrestling in totality. If you want to vote for Saya Kamatani and you watch Joshi a lot, that's fine. I get that. That's fine. I actually don't. But anything that's not those two people, if there's another male that you vote for Thez Flair, you need your head examined. Your
only excuse would be if you're completely ignorant to CMLL and don't watch it.
Right.
Which if you don't watch it, you don't watch it. I don't watch Joshi. If you don't watch it, you can't vote for it. But here's the thing too: you can still look at the drawing record. The guy has drawn more fans than anybody in wrestling.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's like, I think that argument has been put to bed. I think he's the wrestler of the year. I think that's the promotion of the year. I think that this is the match of the year. I think this is the feud of the year. To me. I don't think it's the show of the year. I thought the first half of this show was a nothing show. And I thought and I really loved the second half of the show. I even loved Felino and Rey Bucanero, which
okay.
I love that match. I unironically loved Felino versus Rey Bucanero. And I know that nobody else did. And I know they kind of blew the finish with the double pin. And then but I thought the improvisation was great where they kicked each other in the dick. I mean, that's two veterans knowing what to do in a messy spot. And I thought that the double DQ and both of them getting the haircut was very apropos. And I think that one of the few good things the English commentary did provide was the context that these guys were like, this was the tiebreaker match. And then they ended up having another draw, and it's like, listen, they really worked their asses off because they knew they're getting older. They knew they were limited, and they took some big fucking bumps, these guys. I like this as sort of a rugged, undignified style of match between two veterans. And
it was definitely
unironically enjoyed it.
It was definitely rugged and undignified for sure. I didn't hate it. I just thought it was kind of a mess. The finish was very goofy, like the double pin, and then they can't really pull it off, and the referee's like, I really can't count you guys. You're not even close. Like the referee went down, and you could tell they're like, count, and he's like, nobody's shoulders are down. Everyone's up. Like I can't in good conscience count this pinfall here. So then they had to figure out something else to do. And yeah, you're right. The double dick kicks was an interesting way to go about it, and I like ultimately
thinking on your feet.
I like the result of both guys having to shave their heads because and you really felt that these guys are longtime rivals too.
Yes,
and Felino getting his hair shaved and then being like, "Fuck you! All right, I'm done. Shave his fucking head now," and pointing at Ray like, "Now it's your turn. All right, go do it." And then they're gonna they'll do this again. They'll have another match, I'm sure.
I'd also like to say that was the best pair of clippers I've ever seen in pro wrestling.
Oh, my God. I was thinking the same thing. I was like, I need that for
how
some
many times have you seen clippers?
Good Lord.
How many times have you seen clippers in wrestling and they don't work?
No.
Like, and then they got to get the scissors out and the clippers. These clippers were amazing.
Felino was bald. He was completely down to the fucking skin.
Those were 5-star clippers, man. But no, listen. This was two veterans who don't have it physically anymore, and they knew that, so they knew they had to wrestle rugged, and it was rough around the edges. But based on the rivalry and what was at stake, I appreciated it, and I legitimately enjoyed this match when I know that nobody else did. But I did. I really enjoyed the fuck out of it. I am 100% genuine when I say this was my favorite match to this point in the show, because I didn't think the first half of the show was very good at all. Let's do the back end, and then we'll circle back to the front. So let's finish off the business end of the card. So then we had the elimination match with Esfinge and Valiente, Dragon Rojo Jr. and Cavernario, and Averno and Ultimo Guerrero. So Rojo Jr. and Cavernario were first out, and Dragon Rojo Jr. was not pleased, and the pushing and the shoving. And then Ultimo Guerrero and Averno were eliminated, which left us with Esfinge and Valiente, which we expected to get. Look, they had an impossible match to follow, okay? And the tag match, the three-way tag was just there. It's not like they weren't trying hard, but what the fuck were you going to do coming after that? One of the greatest matches that people have ever seen, right? And then it comes down to Esfinge and Valiente, and I think that they acquitted themselves very well.
Oh, I love this. I thought this was really good. I thought it was a very good match.
I don't know. We might be alone. I mean, I saw people saying, "Oh, we appreciated the drama," but it was, I don't know. I thought they did a good job. I don't think Esfinge is an especially good wrestler. I think he's a very average wrestler. I love Valiente. I've always loved Valiente, but Esfinge is not a guy who ever fucking cracks 3 for me, if you want to put it in those terms. And I was surprised by the finish. Once they showed Tessa Blanchard and she's dating Esfinge, I figured, oh, well, he's losing his mask because he's got his people there, right? But no, they went the other direction and they beat Valiente here. And Esfinge, the fucking Pharaoh, keeps his shit. And Valiente loses, and he looks exactly how I thought Valiente would look when he took off his mask. And sometimes it just works out like that, where they look exactly how you think they're going to look.
Yeah, he took it off, and it's Fernando Vega, age 60 or 51. And I was like, that looks like a Fernando Vega.
That's Valiente.
That looks like Fernando Vega, a.k.a. Valiente, for sure. Yeah,
I don't think he's going to have any problems without the mask. He's got a good fucking wrestler face, He
does have a nice, it's like a good ugly wrestler face. And God, his body is still in great. I mean, he's still in really good shape, too.
Yeah. He's built like a fucking fire hydrant, but he's still like kind of, and he does the great diet.
He's got the Jericho thing where you're fat and you also have abs at the same time, which I do not understand because I'm fat and I cannot get abs if I even tried. But I would love to have the belly with the abs on top of the belly. I don't know how you do it, but one day I hope to. But yeah, he unmasked and I was just like, oh yeah, he'll be fine. He'll be fine.
Yeah. So I thought the back end of the card was just a really great and a lot of fun. And circling back to the top, the women's tag match, I didn't like it. I thought that, it was very clear that they understood the assignment. They knew this was the biggest show of the year, and they planned a lot of spots around that to go out there and have a super dynamic match. I just think that these 4 people did a bunch of shit that was over their head.
Mm-hmm. It was sloppy as hell.
It was sloppy as hell. You see that a lot. They wanted to be impressive. They wanted to bust out a lot of crazy shit. And they just aren't skilled enough to pull off the kind of high spot heavy match that they tried to pull off. And it just didn't work for me.
Yeah, I didn't love it. I thought it was way too sloppy. And like you said, they ambitious match, and I'll give them credit for being ambitious and going out there and being the first match there with a sold-out Arena Mexico. But yeah, it was sloppy and not very good.
So Angel de Oro and Niebla Roja, a lot of people thought the Villanos would take the tag titles here. They did not. I don't like this team as much as other people do. I saw a lot of praise for Los Hermanos Chavez in the aftermath of this match. They don't really do it for me. I greatly prefer the Villano team. I too thought they would win, but they went with the champions retaining, and I thought the match was fine. But it seems like most reviews that I've seen like this match a lot better than I did. I don't know. It just didn't hit that button for me.
I liked it. I don't think I liked it as much. I saw a lot of reviews that really liked it. To put it like, neck and, not neck and neck with Mystico and MJF. Everybody has that on a completely different level, but at least like, as like the second best match of the night or the third best match of the night. And I didn't think it was quite that good. I do, I'm with you on the Angel de Oro and Niebla Roja team. I don't see much out of them, and I've seen a bunch of their matches, and it's never quite landed with me. I do like the Villano team, and what I like about the Villano team is they have like this Jack Evans energy about them where they just do shit. You don't know where they're going. You don't know who they're going to land on. They don't know who they're going to land on. They're not sure what they're doing. They just go to the top rope and they're like, I'll do a fucking backflip, twister, dive, whatever. Like multiple times these guys just crash to the floor, landed on their ankles, landed on their heads. It's just like, I love it. I just love the breakneck style that they have, which is just like, we're just going to do some flippy do. And maybe it's like, it reminds me of peak Jack Evans, where he would go to the top rope and it'd be like, shooting star press into a swanton because I don't know, why not? Fuck it, who cares? You know what I mean? I'm Jack Evans. I just I go to the top of a cage and I do 17 twists and I land on my head and it's like whatever, it's fine, all good. Like that's the energy I get out of the Villanos, and it's not always good, but it's kind of fun. It's always a fun energy out of them, and you truly never know what the fuck you're gonna get out of those guys because they are just they're a lot of energy. A lot of energy and a lot of.
Well, it's good to see him back together. The one guy was hurt for a long time.
Yeah.
So we had Atlantis Jr. teaming with the two members of Sky Team, Dorada and Neon, against Hechicero, Volador Jr. and Zandakan Jr. Dorada, of course, another guy who flew right to Toronto and then had the performance, I think, of his career in the three-way with Okada and Takeshita. I thought that was the best Dorada performance of his entire career. And the one that he needed to have in front of the big pay-per-view audience. This match, Neon hit all of his shit. And Neon doesn't always hit all of his shit, but he was pitch perfect here.
He was great. I'm not usually a Neon guy, but here, when this was done, I was like, all right, I see it. Because when he's perfect, like he was here,
he's spectacular.
He's fucking phenomenal. No one is as good as him. And the stuff he's doing. We've seen so many guys fly and flip and do all this sort of stuff, and especially in CML. Then you see this guy, and you're like, oh my god, he's better than everybody. He's like and then
you know what he makes you think? You're like, oh, there is new shit that I've never seen.
Right, exactly.
Right, and because when you think you've seen it all, so he's a lot like Sugi in that regard. Like whenever you watch Sugi from years ago, or he was like, whoa, he's just doing like he literally just ran up a wall and did a flip. I've never seen anyone do that, but like that's Neon. He does shit that you've never seen before when you think you've seen it all. But I thought this was the strongest match of the non-business end of the card, but I thought it was, again, the show didn't, like, it felt like a really good semi-main of a regular Arena Mexico show, or the best match on a weak Arena Mexico show, rather than, this is like the next match, for instance, Templario and Titan over Barboza and Defunto in the tournament final. That just felt like an average run-of-the-mill Arena Mexico
match. I did not like that match at all. Yeah, I really was down on that.
It was nothing special at all. And it's like, guys, this is the anniversary show. At least the women, you felt like they knew the assignment and really tried to have a special match. They just came up short. Whereas in some of these other matches, they just felt like run-of-the-mill matches to me. So, especially the Copa final. So, now Barboza and Defunto, they're not the best workers or anything like that. I understand that, and this was really just a way to make sure that Templario and Titan were on the card. You don't really want to leave guys of that stature off a show like this. But, they just went in there for 10 minutes and had a fucking 3-star match, and then you had the business end, which we talked about. So on the whole, I really enjoyed the show. I watched the English commentary because I wanted to be able to talk about it. Not because I needed it. I watched this all the time without English commentary.
I did the same too.
Look, they weren't good at all, the English commentary. It's hard when you're all sitting in your living room wearing a fucking gamer headset and you're not really there and you don't know when I get the difficulties of it. Okay. And they didn't put a ton of resources or effort into the English commentary. And they tried hard, but eventually I just tuned them out because they weren't adding really anything to the show. And, at the end of the day, I wish I just would have watched the regular broadcast, to be completely honest. But if the English commentary got people to try it, that's a good thing.
Right. Yeah. And that's ultimately why I'm glad that they did this. I think they can probably put together a better team, or at least maybe this team can get a couple more reps together or whatever. It didn't flow well. They didn't seem like they were adding a whole lot of information. Veda was falling into some of the traps that she often falls into, where she's both doing color commentary and play-by-play at the same time. And it's like, you got to pick a lane. It can't be both. Like, it's really tough to do both things at the same time, especially when there's other people in the booth. Kalisto, Samurai del Sol, whatever, he added, nothing. I think he just kind of occasionally chimed in or whatever. And the main guy, I forget what his name was. Who's the main guy doing?
I don't
remember his name. He just wasn't good at presenting. You know what I mean? He wasn't like doing a very good. Like, I honestly think like get somebody like a Joe Dombrowski in there. I think in this could really, raise the stakes a little bit.
I think they wanted someone who worked for the company who would know the story.
Yeah, I get that. But
I think that's what they wanted.
He didn't do a great job of presenting those stories. And he didn't do a great job of talking. Like, he might be a good guy to add notes to a guy who's good at talking. But I just didn't think he was good. Yeah. Or a third chair. Honestly, he'd be perfect. Tell Kalisto to hit the bricks and have, Joe Dombrowski, Veda Scott, and this guy be the third chair, and he can, chime in on the specifics or whatever. Because, I thought he had good information, but he wasn't very good at delivering it.
Miguel Castro.
Okay. I want to get the guy's name right. And then Veda, just like I said, I think there's been improvement in Veda's commentary, but this was the old trap the trap that usually happens during WrestleMania weekends, where she'll do a show and just decide, okay, I'm going to do play-by-play and color commentary, and it's just you can't do both.
Yeah. And then she has the horrible habit of using her Syracuse big boy voice. I hate it.
Yeah.
She does that a lot too. But so I don't know the English. But look, if it got people to watch, on the whole, I enjoyed the show from top to bottom. I just thought the first half of the show dragged a little bit, and at times did not feel like the biggest lucha show of the year. The back end of the show absolutely felt like the biggest lucha show of the year, and it felt like an absolute happening, to steal from Gorilla Monsoon. And it was a very enjoyable night of wrestling for me. And I hope that some new people who have never watched checked it out, because I don't know how, unless you just are totally put off by the lucha style, which I understand. It's not for everybody. It's a little different. But if you're open to lucha, there's no way you didn't really appreciate the back half of that show and some of the flying on the first half if you've never seen some of these people, I hope this show was a net positive for the company, because CMLL is having another great year, and they packed this place, 16,000 people, and their momentum continues. And they're one of the few shining bright lights in pro wrestling.
They really are.
CMLL.
Thank God for them.
You don't even have to be locked in every week. I mean, if you could just parachute in, and that's what I do a lot of the time. I don't watch every single Friday show, but you catch the matches that look interesting to you, or the people that you like, and you jump in. I mean, it's almost always a good time. It's never awful.
No, and that's I'm glad, for this being a possibly a lot of people's first experience watching CMLL and getting in on, with English commentary on Triller. I think the first half of the show, while I agree was not good, I think was at least like fun enough and interesting enough and showed enough variety that I think, if you're a first time watcher, you probably got through that and said, that was okay. That was fine. I don't know if I quite see the hype. And then, like you said, then the back half was pure Lucha Libre excellence. A hair versus hair match, a mask versus mask match, and then a bloody brawl between Mystico and MJF.
And you know what it is? It's the emotion that other wrestling can never capture.
Exactly.
There's a certain emotion in lucha, in a big lucha match, like the back end of this show, which lucha does better than any other pro wrestling style in the world, real lucha. Okay, with Japanese wrestling, with Puro, you kind of at the highest level, you have like that fighting spirit that no other style of wrestling can capture in a big, Puro match historically. And sometimes even you get glimpses of it today where it's like, this is fighters wanting to fight and you have to kill them to make them die. American wrestling never matches that energy, and neither does Mexican wrestling. In lucha in Mexico, there's a certain kind of emotion to the big lucha match that Japan can't match and that American wrestling can't match. And then American wrestling has the large scale spectacle aspect that the other two countries can't match. They all have their own strengths, and it comes down to what you prefer as a fan, right? But the emotion that comes with a Mystico MJF and people crying for Mystico and the puddles of blood and how special that was because they normally don't allow it. And Felino and Rey Bucanero, these old warriors just dying to take each other's hair. And no, it wasn't pretty, but it shouldn't have been. They're fucking old guys. And then the two guys at the end trying to take each other's mask. And it's just, you can't match that. You can't match that emotional energy that a big lucha show gives you. Even if you're not necessarily a fan of the style of work, you at least have to concede that. And I think that this show absolutely nailed that.
Yeah, and mask versus mask matches, especially like the one, they always hit on an emotional level. Like, I'm always like teary-eyed when when I watch them, and I don't know why, but
that's exactly what I'm speaking to.
But like, when Valiente's taking his mask off and, the ring announcer has to walk over and say, what is your name and how old are you and who are you related to or whatever. It's like, I mean, God, how do you not love that? How do you not love that the pomp and circumstance of this man who we know as this one name? Now, henceforth, it's over. He must now tell us who he actually is. This idea that we don't know who these people are other than when they take their masks off. And now finally, and that's really true. I mean, that's a lot of dudes. That El Santo, the greatest example of that, a guy who would just, walk the streets in his mask or whatever. Rey Mysterio still to this day will be pretty protective of it sometimes, not as much as he probably should be, but pretty protective of it. And I just love that idea that okay. And I always get teary-eyed because the guy rips his mask off and they announce his name and his family comes in and they hug him and he's crying. And it's like his life is altered and his life has changed from this moment in this match. Where else in wrestling do you get that? What other match has the stakes where this man's entire career has now changed? Like, truly has changed. Not just, he won a title, or, he has to retire that we know is not true, or, he can't challenge. No, this man will now always wrestle without a mask. He's wrestled with a mask for 40 years, and now he's not going to wrestle with a mask. And we know his real name, and we know how old he is now.
Yeah, it's great. It really, and you watch these guys all these years, and now it's like they're reborn. They're a different guy now almost, because it's like, poor Valiente. This guy can't even go to a taco stand after the show anymore unnoticed. I think about stuff like that too. Like his anonymity is gone. He can't take his family to the mall. Right. Like he used to be able to do that with no problem. You lose your mask and now you're fucking going to be recognized in and around Arena Mexico in Mexico City. You can't just walk out of the arena and hop in your fucking Toyota and go home peacefully. Like, it's crazy. And when that mask comes off, it's off. That moment. I know that moment you're talking about. They untie it and they're always hesitant. Because that's it. Once it's off, it's off.
My face. You're gonna all see my face for the first time. And once I take this off and hand it to I love the handing the mask to the opponent. And you took my mask, but take it with pride. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
Like that like you said, two fucking warriors. Two gladiators, doing battle, and it's over.
Yeah.
And you respect your opponent. Sometimes you might attack him after you give him the mask, and
you gotta,
fuck you. They're still, you fucking asshole. You took my mask, but I still just all the pageantry around the mask matches. It's just that's why I always will live for them and just absolutely adore them.
Yeah, it's great stuff. This was a really fun show. So I thought that All Out was probably the best show of the day, and this was number 2, and for the weekend, and it was definitely a better show than the Wrestlepalooza show. Even with the first half, but that was the CMLL anniversary show. So, we'll see what they have in store next year.
Absolutely. So we had on the sheet N1. I did not watch the N1 Victory Final. You
I
did
haven't
not
gotten
either.
to any of the N1 because everyone I trust says that it sucked.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna watch the final and get caught, but I haven't yet. But what I did watch was the Triple Crown title change. So you want me to do that quickly?
Yes. Yeah. And I actually I've seen a little bit of it as well. You could probably give more thoughts, but I've seen it. I watched it on mute while we were doing the show, but I got some thoughts about it too. So
did we ever wrap up the Royal Road? Did we talk about the finals and the semifinal?
I don't know if we ever talked about the semifinals or the finals. That was from September 15th. I don't know if we must have missed that or whatever. But yeah, Kento won the Royal Road tournament,
which got him this title shot against Jun Saito on the 23rd from this Tokyo building, this arena Tachikawa, where they did about 1,700 fans for the title match with Jun Saito. They did the title change, but the end of the Royal Road. I mean, the Daisuke Sekimoto Kento Miyahara match was kept very short. I thought Daisuke Sekimoto was a nice addition to the tournament. He had a couple of short matches that might speak to his physical state these days. I don't know. But, the other semifinal was nothing special. And then Kento, of course, won the final over
Riki Honda.
Help me out. Yeah, Riki Honda. Which again, that match was fine. The Royal Road was nothing to write home about, but I heard it's like fucking lapping this N1. So,
I have heard the same too, which is making like you said, I've went to the Wrestle Universe site like a bunch of times and been like, this is something now because everybody seems to, and I'm so glad it's over now. I'll watch the final and just hand wave the rest of it because apparently
I gotta jump in and I gotta do the work and catch up with it. But the point is, I spent today doing it. Now I didn't watch this. I'm gonna go back and watch the rest of the show too because there's a lot of title matches. I know that Odyssey and Zion won the tag team.
Yeah, they did. I was watching with one eye. I will tell you, watching, and I do want to go back and watch this with, the sound on and the commentary, but it did look like the Aoyagi Musashi junior title match looked really, really good. And Daisuke Sakamoto and Dan Tamura looked fucking awesome. So from what I could tell, it looked like a really fun show.
Yeah, I'm going to go back and watch. It was it's a big All Japan show when they got commentary. So they had the commentary for this one. And I watched the Triple Crown match. It was really good. It was better than anything in the Royal Road by a mile. I think it's the right decision to put the title back on Kento Miyahara. The Jun Saito thing has kind of stalled. They're obviously not getting any growth out of this at this point. They're doing basically the same number in Corkin they always do every time out. They did it. It worked. It was a success for what it was, but it's time. Kento hasn't been champion in a long time, and I think it's been long enough to where going back to him might be the right move. He's still the most charismatic and most popular wrestler in the promotion. As far as the match itself, I thought it was excellent. I really thought it was excellent. Saito kicked out of the first straitjacket German, which surprised me. I thought that was the end, but he just straight up kicked out of it. And then Kento was fighting to get it back on, and he was struggling. And Saito escaped it, and he hit him with that running front kick, which looks sloppy sometimes, but he really nailed it here, and Kento took a great bump on it. And then he set him up for that suplex deal that he does, and it was very dramatic. He had him up there for a long time, and Kento, it looked like he was going to hit him, and Kento escaped, and then eventually got his arms back around him. And, Saito escaped one more straitjacket attempt, but then he eventually hit, and once he hit it the second time, Saito didn't kick out. And Kento won the title. It was a really good closing stretch.
It looked like a cool build to that last straitjacket because I kept looking and I was like, straitjacket, it's over. And then Saito broke out and I was like, no, straitjacket. And then he kept breaking out. And at one time they collapsed. Like he got him up.
Yeah.
He was like, I clutched the hands and I got him up. And then he collapsed. And I was like, that's kind of cool. That's a cool way to, because usually it's like the guy just breaks out of it or breaks free. I like the idea that Kento got him up, but it was like, fuck, no, he's too heavy. Shit. And he dropped him.
Yeah. And he
couldn't
fell
get him all
down.
the way. Yeah.
And it was really dramatic. And sometimes Kento, I don't want to say he gets lazy, but he often gets over reliant on, am I going to hook my hands together? And, he milks that while the crowd is screeching. You know what I'm talking about. You see it and like, am I going to clasp my hands? Is it going to happen? And he milks it. And he does such a great job with that. But that's kind of a shortcut to drama. Whereas the closing stretch of this match, they did a great job building up to the drama of that, especially after Saito kicked out of the first one. And I thought Saito looked great when he hit him with that front kick. And I thought he was going to, that's it. I thought, wow, they're going to have him kick out of the straitjacket, and then he's just going to go through his finishing sequence and retain the title. But then Kento wormed out of it and eventually won, and he gave the big promo at the end. And I really believe it's time. I thought that Jun Saito had a very good, and I would even go as far as to say productive title reign, but he's had the title for a long time by modern wrestling standards, and he had really faced everyone. He beat Yuma Anzai. He beat Yuma Aoyagi. He beat Kento on this reign. He beat his brother on this reign. He beat Hideki Suzuki. Who else?
Oh, God.
He beat Ryuki Honda.
Yeah, I mean, he had 7 defenses, 266 days. I mean, it was a long reign, yeah.
And it wasn't growing the company anymore, you know, and he's established at that level. And now we see with putting the title back on Kento, if they can improve some of these Korakuen attendances, I think that doing 1,750 in this building, that's a good number for where they're at right now to do 1,700 fans. And, the title's back home on the ace of the company. Because let's face it, the Jun Saito thing was necessary. They put it on Davey Boy because he's their top foreign boy right now. And Yuma Aoyagi Yuma Anzai, got his first reign, I guess, last year after all the Nakajima stuff at the end of 2023. But Kento Miyahara hasn't had this title in a few years now. And I've liked a lot of the stuff they've done at the top of the card since the last time he had it. But to me, it was just time. So, it's kind of a new look All Japan. They really believe in Zion and Odyssey for better or worse. I know a lot of people aren't too excited about Odyssey for outside of the ring reasons and things like that. And, apparently this was a really good card. I just didn't have time to watch the whole thing yet. So I look forward to watching that. And I look forward to getting caught up on the N1.
Yeah, Saito's title. So he beat Davey Boy Smith Jr. He beat Anzai. He beat Yuma Aoyagi. He beat Kento. He beat his brother. He beat Hideki Suzuki. He beat Ryuki Honda. He beat Yuma Aoyagi. It's like...
Oh, so he beat Aoyagi twice.
Yes.
That's the one I was missing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, who else are you going to face?
At a certain point, yeah. You got
them all. And Yuma Anzai is back. He came back on this card.
Yeah. Looks good from what I could see. So
there was a lot of speculation. Where is he? Where'd he go? Why did he go away? Is he going to pop up in fucking New Japan or something? Which are all legitimate fears, right? Like, and you don't want to lose that guy. But now he's back in the mix, and they got some, at least fresh foreign talent, no matter how you feel about them. So, I think that I've had my fill of Jun Saito title matches, I think.
Yeah, I'm ready for a different, I'm
ready for some Kento again. I'm ready for some Kento 4.25 star. We've seen them all before, but they're always great title matches. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're fine with me. More of those is okay. Yeah, we need a little something different. We've had the Jun Saito thing for a while, and yeah, Kento mixing it up with Aoyagi and Anzai and stuff. That sounds really, really good for me too. Okay, hey, give Daisuke Sakamoto a title shot too. Why not? Right?
I mean, if he's going to stick around, I mean, this might have been his last night since he was part of this tour.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, I mean, he went far in the tournament, and they gave him a win. He beat Dan Tamura on this one. So I got out of there quickly. Did someone come out and challenge or no? I don't.
I did not see. I also left the video. I don't think so. I just saw Kento dance around and then leave. So I don't know if anybody actually came out. So
yeah, I mean, so it just feels right.
Absolutely. So, yeah, from what I saw, it looked like a really fun show, but I'm going to go back and rewatch it all. So we'll probably talk about that. We'll talk about the N1 final next week. We'll probably talk about this Giant Dream show in totality next week as well. But that is it for this week on the Flagship Podcast. So, as we mentioned, Flagship, patreon.com for all the bonus content, including the instant reaction live for All Out 2025. The 2 articles we mentioned as well, my Mystico MJF article, the article about aggregation, how terrible it is and how it poisons the well, plus Thursday Dynamite review, a bunch of other stuff up there, bonus audio, retro content, all of our archive of years and years and years that we have now accumulated here on flagshippatreon.com. So all that is available on the $5 tier, gets you all the bonus audio, and $10 tier unlocks everything, including live shows, written content, and everything we've ever done available there on that $10 tier. You mentioned this on your Thursday Dynamite review a bunch and mentioned a little bit earlier too, but Get off Twitter. Get off these other terrible apps. Go to voicesofwrestling.com/Discord. Have good wrestling discussions again. Voicesofwrestling.com/Discord. Make sure you get on there and sign up and start enjoying wrestling discussions again, because it has been horrible for a lot of years, and I know what it feels like, and I know how awful it can be, but there are still good people talking about wrestling out there. So voicesofwrestling.com/Discord. And hey, subscribe to us on YouTube if you haven't already. We're trying to pump that up as much as possible. So subscribe on YouTube if you're a YouTube user.
And just go hit like on every video.
Yeah, hit that like, comment on every video, say this is great content, thank you, and hit like and hit the bell, hit all that. Just hit everything.
Shilling.
Just fucking click everything. Just click everything.
We've never asked for likes or clicks.
No.
Did you see this? They're doing Hayabusa versus Kaito Kiyomiya on November 10th.
Oh. In where? Oh, in Noah.
Well, I don't know. Actually, I don't know if it's in Noah, because it just says 0-1 versus Noah, November 10th. Hayabusa versus Kaito Kiyomiya.
I'm in.
So I don't know.
That sounds interesting. Yeah.
Whoever show that is on November 10th, I don't know.
Yeah, who's running November 10th? Who would know the 0-1 schedule? I'm not going to look. We'll figure it out. It'll come to us in time. So sounds like a hell of a match. I'm down. Hayabusa is good. I like.
Yeah,
the aura
I have a 0-1 project I was planning. I need the time to get around to it. I have every piece of footage that exists of 0-1 from this year, which isn't much.
For people that are thinking, that's not a lot of hours, because they
haven't made tape much at all.
They pretty much just released Hayabusa matches at this point. A couple of other matches will make it through, but pretty much it's Hayabusa matches. So
I want to watch it all and just talk about what limited footage is out there from their year. I think I will do it in written form. I think it's better written than spoken for that particular kind of thing. And I can put the links up for the videos. But I just haven't gotten around. At this point, it's already October. I might just wait till the end of the year and do the whole year. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I might do that, but I want to go back and get all that done. So yeah, that looks like a really interesting match. I'm sure it's a Noah show. I don't know why it would be a 0-1
I don't think Kaito's coming to 0-1. So yeah.
But what does that tell us? That tells us that relationship is still alive, and that Go Shiozaki with the belt and everything. So they haven't taken that belt.
No, they haven't taken the belt back. Yeah. Monday Magic is back too. So maybe we can start seeing some 0-1 guys on Monday Magic or whatever. So yeah.
Maybe they just slapped pause on everything until Go was healthy. But this Hayabusa, that's an interesting match politically too in terms of finish. But we got about a little more than a month and a half out. It's almost November already. Holy
I know.
We're all gonna fucking die soon, bro. It's like time just snap of a finger, man. Well,
on that,
enjoy your week, everybody.
Have a great one, everybody. Flagship Podcast. That is Joe. I am Rich. We'll talk to you guys next time. Take care. Bye.
My name is Tyler Fornes, and I am one of the co-hosts of the Good, the Bad, and the Hungy AEW podcast here on the Voice of Wrestling Podcasting Network. We take a broad scope approach to the world of All Elite Wrestling and the entire universe of Tony Khan. We talk about the big matches, the big stars, the promos, the storylines. And we also look at it from a big picture perspective. How are things going to change over the course of the next 10 years with AEW still in the picture? How are companies like WWE going to adapt and adjust to AEW? Are they going to be a similar way like they did with WCW in the late 1990s? Will there be a counterpunch? We talk about all of that and more on The Good, the Bad, and the Hungy every week on the Voice of Wrestling Network.
Hello, do you like New Japan Pro Wrestling? Are you a Shin Nihon freak? If so, check out the Super J-Cast with Joel and Damon on the Voices of Wrestling Podcast Network.
And even if you fucking hate New Japan Pro Wrestling, listen to the Super J-Cast anyway. Not just for our great show reviews, analysis, and pastrami sandwiches, but there's also usually some dick jokes somewhere in the obligatory opening 30 minutes of absolute nonsense we chat about every single week. That's the Super J-Cast for all the best talk about New Japan Pro Wrestling, crisps, and pornography.